unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Criminality, or if this is your first time here, welcome to Criminality. It is Tuesday, so happy Tuesday, everybody. And for whatever reason, I am big-faced on here, so we're going to fix that. I am excited to be able to have the Shaboobies on with us tonight. Real name Shaboogies, but, you know, I like to call her the Shaboobies. So we're going to welcome her, and I'm going to say hi to you guys in chat, and we are going to get started because we have a lot of information to cover. So I will say before I bring her up, whether you know anything about this case or you know nothing about this case, we have spent some time compiling as much information as we possibly can. Obviously, neither one of us are experts, so there may be information that we are asking for you guys to help us with, or that you may know that I haven't found yet or she hasn't found yet. So please feel free to, you know, share things in chat if there's something that, you know, one of us maybe makes a mistake on, or information that is new that we haven't actually gotten to yet. So like I said, though, no matter whether you know anything about it or you don't know anything about it, we're going to go through the whole thing with you. So thank you guys for being here with us, and here is Shaboogies.
Hi! And here's why they call me Shaboobies.
This is legit why they call her Shaboobies.
Thought
No
I did a little show
joke.
and tell. Hi guys. Hi T. T, first, I'm just so happy you're like in a state of back, I guess.
I am.
Thrilled. Can we just hear it for fucking T being back? Oh, we needed her so bad.
You guys.
And so I'm so thrilled to be here. And as I was telling you, T, like super excited to talk about this with you. It's super important to me. It's a lot of cases sometimes just fucking grab me. And this is one of those that's just grabbed me. So.
Yeah, and same, because even when I was on my little hiatus, like this was a case that I was like absolutely digging into, you know, before I even actually officially came back. So I'm happy to have you, because I know I watched some information on your channel too. So thank you for covering it. And we'll get into it. I'm going to say hi to people in chat really quick, because I know there's actually some people here today that I didn't get to see the other day. Judge Jessica. Oh my gosh, hi. I'm going to do my best Valley girl for you. What's up, Chelsea? Hey, Post Punk Mama. Hey, Tank. Hey, Labrance. What's up, CH? Hi, Nancy. Salty Sleuth. Hey, Karen. Mav. Shaboobies. Hey, Miranda. Good to see you. Hey, Travis. Let me see who else is up here. Miku's headphones. Zucchini. Has he been kidnapped? No, Rochelle, I'm here. But I could tell you, if he had puppies, I'd probably go with. Or a motorcycle. Covered in tattoos. I may leave then too. Just saying. Don't tell anybody. Hi, Rachel. What's up, Nico? Hey, Mac and Mama. Let me see who else is up here. I may miss you. If I miss you, I am so sorry. It's definitely not intentional. It is just me getting back into the swing of things. And apparently my vision has gotten a lot worse since I went on a hiatus. What's up, Carrie? Hi, Catpool. Hi, Bailey. Oh, Fiend. What's up, Tony? Who Who is unindicted? Okay, so, all right, I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to let Shabugs tell us a little bit about Nolan Wells. Let me just add this to the screen really quick, and there we go.
All right. Nolan Xavier Wells was born on August 19, 2007. Date of passing, we're not clear yet, but anytime between July 4th and the date his body was found, July 6th of this year. He had not yet turned 19. He would have turned 19 next month. He had graduated from Ocean Springs High School in 2025. He was a wide receiver for Southwest Mississippi Community College. His parents are Christine and Elsinore. And by all accounts, Nolan Wells was, yes, when someone passes, you hear nothing but like, oh, he was a good guy. Oh, he was so kind. Oh, he was. But the thing with Nolan Wells that I've noticed in people's retellings about Nolan is that it wasn't just a generic, he was a good guy. It was examples like him standing up for a special needs student in his class type of person, right? And when you're a young teenage boy in school, to be of that kind of character says a lot about who Nolan was. And I just want to preface my feelings as this case can become convoluted and unnecessarily tense. I just want to say that his parents have been amazing and just been trying to fight so hard just to get like the full truth for their son. And I just think that's so admirable, and I just want to shout out his parents for that.
I've heard even like from some of the stuff that I read about like even the day of, and we'll get into that, but just some of the stuff about him was like that he was like out there telling people like how much he loved them and how much they meant to him, like just his friends. He's like, you know, hugging like some of the older people that were out there, like some of the adults that were there. Like he's just like a hugger. He's just like a loving kid, like a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody who is who doesn't know, it's out of Mississippi. We're going to get more into the details surrounding that. So obviously he goes to school at Southwest Mississippi Community College now, but him and his friends were going to join a ton of other people, other friends, other adults, other children, tons of people for 4th of July celebration out on Horn Island, which is an uninhabited, I think it's about 10 miles. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. It's about a 10-mile just like peninsula of uninhabited beach. So they like would go out there for like weekends or getaways or, you know, just to hang out and, you know, be teenagers. I mean, even the adults are out there partying. So.
Right. But important to notate, like that's kind of the what was going on that day was like the teenagers and the parents partying and the parents letting the teenagers drink. Just saying.
Right. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today is Nolan Wells. So this is 4th of July, like we were just talking about. On 4th of July, him and a bunch of his friends got on a boat and were headed from the main island or the mainland to Horn Island. And we'll go through like the timeline of events, but this is kind of what is encompassing just the trip out there and some of the very last photos of Nolan that are known photos of Nolan Wells on his way out to Horn Island with his friends. This photo in itself, I believe, has caused a lot of race controversy. In my opinion, a bit unnecessarily, just simply because these are just some kids that are out there. You know, they've obviously been friends the majority of their life, some of them since they were in kindergarten. But because this one photo is of 3 white boys and 1 black boy, all of a sudden, it became a very big thing about race. And I touched on this on my bullshit live I had a couple days ago. And Shaboogies actually had a really good comment about that. It's really not about the race of the kids necessarily. It's more about the fact that we have a young black man who is dead, and will the Mississippi police put the same effort into this investigation as they would if this was a young white boy that was dead? And so I think that's a very good point to look at it. So there's a lot of, if you're following on other streams, I'm sure you've noticed that there is a lot of tension when it comes to the race side of it. And people have many different opinions. Some do believe that, yeah, he's like, and we're going to show you some videos too. And at the beginning of this, when he went missing and when he was unfortunately found on July 6th, a lot of people were like, he's literally, out of all these videos that we see out here on Horn Island, he's the only black kid. And it's like, that isn't true. His friends are out there. They're mixed races. There's all races that were out there on this Horn Island that day that were just partying for 4th of July. And so like I said, I'm not going to get too much into the race side of it, outside of the fact that we're going to talk about the investigation side of what's happening and why people are joining the family and making it more of a race debate than I personally feel like it should be. But like I said, everybody has their own opinion. Shaboogies and I don't actually even share quite the same opinion on that part of it necessarily. And you guys know from years past, I don't care what your opinion is. You can have whatever opinion you want, but if you're an asshole, then you get blocked. So that's really just the bottom line. So you can have whatever opinion is your opinion, and it is welcome and it is respected, but just don't be an asshole. So to me, to Shaboogies, or to anybody else in chat.
Yeah. And real quick, I just want to say, I think that's a really good point, that exactly like this image in front of you, what it portrays and what it kind of feels like and looks like to certain people and maybe not to other people, like that all has presented like a narrative that it's very much a race thing. But I think it's important to notate again that I feel Nolan's family has made it more about, they just want a fair investigation for their son, and they don't believe that's going to happen given the history of Mississippi and extenuating factors and the law enforcement in that local county. So from my side, I think the narrative of it being about race has come predominantly from social media side of it.
It's true.
So that's just my personal feelings. But yeah, I think it's important to note that I think there's a way to make it about race without making it necessarily about all of these white kids versus these black kids. Like, it's not necessarily that. You'll always have to remember we can't trust law enforcement. Y'all. We just can't. In my opinion, that's a me opinion. Right. All right,
I think we want to.
Hell yeah.
Our instinct is to want to, but we also have to protect ourselves and our families. And so,
absolutely.
And as a parent, KDP says, like, as a parent, I would want to know. So just, my son graduated high school this year. So, and his birthday's in August. Him and Nolan are almost exactly 1 year apart in age. Like, it's crazy to think, like, in a year's time of like doing this with my own, like, I would not. And I understand, as the parents, you almost don't care who's willing to help you because you just want fucking help, so you do. Sometimes you may even sacrifice some of your own, I don't want to say beliefs necessarily, but like, you're just so in need of answers. And we all know, good cop, bad cop, when a death investigation or a homicide investigation is happening, cops aren't giving you that kind of information because they're investigating. They want to be able to factually find things. And yeah, sometimes it's because they want to hide shit, but they can't give it. They can't just every tip that comes in or every piece of information that they find, they can't actually go to the family and consistently, keep them up to date on everything. And so a lot of the times they will, families will hire an attorney in order to understand the law better. And I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. I'm always a firm believer of, no matter what's going on in life, hire an attorney. Like, if you are in any situation, hire an attorney. But then the attorney understands more of the legal side of it and can act as a bit of a liaison between law enforcement and the victim's family. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to get into a little bit about who some of these people are, and so I may come back to the screen to kind of point out like the people that we know and the people that we don't know. And I will very clearly state that a lot of what is out there is from social media or family and friends doing interviews versus like a factual statement from, and see, it's like kind of hard to throw like a factual statement from law enforcement, like as in confirmed by. So you kind of have to take this as some of this will change as things continue to come out. And a lot of this has changed so far from July 6th when Nolan's remains were recovered until today. You know, things have been cleared up, things have been answered, some things haven't been. So, I mean, there's a simple thing of like who was on the boat that not anybody can actually concretely say this is exactly who was on the boat and this is who wasn't. So there's
right.
things
I
like
mean,
that.
because to even get there, you got to tell me what killed this boy.
Right.
You got to tell me what killed this young man. Like, we don't even know that. So.
Right. Okay. So we'll skip to the next one. Like I said, I'll come back to that too, just so you guys can kind of see like who we're talking about. So what we do know is obviously these photos are from the boat on the way there. And so we know that I'm going to give you guys just some basic first names and you guys can do the last names on the next page if you want to. But this kid's name is Warren, because if I go into last names, it's just too many names because there's a lot of players involved in this day. So this is Warren. This is Jax. This is Nolan Wells, and this is Eric. So then you have Nolan and Jax taking an individual photo together when they're actually at Horn Island. So,
ladies in chat, who would have liked Jax in high school? Jax Nolan, man.
I don't think that. I don't think that any of these guys are lacking in the meet and girls department. Let me just say that.
Not at all.
Yeah. So like that, and that becomes important for what happens. So hey, RJ. If anybody's popped in that I didn't get a chance to say hi to, thank you guys for being here. I'm very happy to be back, and thank you guys for popping in, even if you're just popping in to say hi, or if you're sticking around for the whole thing. I appreciate it either way. So thank you guys for popping in. Okay, so we talked about who was on the boat. So Warren was on the boat. Eric is also in the photo, and then Jax is in the photo. So there's a couple other people on here that were not in the photo that we see, and that's Wyatt. And he becomes a big person in this day because of his family is the one who owns the boat that the boys had gone out on. Some are football players, some are just friends from childhood. Some of them just grew up together. So yeah, not all football players. Some are, some are not. And then there's another person named Morgan. This name is actually very minimally talked about, and so I don't even feel absolutely certain enough to say. And like I said, somebody in chat, if you guys have sources or something out there, or you have information and you want to send it to me, you guys are welcome to do that. You can find me on Facebook, or you can find me, at my email, criminality187.com or .com. That's my website. Criminality187@gmail. If you guys have stuff that you want to send to me, or if you think that there's information that I have on here that you could help clarify, by all means. I am not I'm always right kind of person. So, we're trying to get as much factual information to you guys as we can. So feel free. So like I said, so Morgan, I'm not even 100%, but it has been rumored that he is also on this boat.
And like I was telling you, I hadn't even heard of him, because T has really gotten deep in the trenches of the research of the who's who and whatnot, y'all.
That's why but there's people that are way deeper. So it's like, that's why I said there's just so many pieces to it. So we have two of his other friends, which is Tristan and Javon. They're going to come up a lot in the fact that they have been very outspoken and some have done multiple interviews with news outlets. So we're going to hear a lot about them. Neither Tristan nor Javon were on the boat with Nolan Wells on the way to Horn Island. So just for some clarification on that. So I'll go back, and I'll tell you guys again. So you have, I'm gonna screw it up.
Warren is first. Warren
I always
is
want to call him
first.
Wyatt. It's not. It's Warren. It's Warren. Warren, Jax, obviously Nolan, and Eric. So that is what's confirmed to be in the photos from the boat on the trip to Horn Island that day. Okay. Okay. So do you want to walk a little bit through the timeline, or you want me to do that one?
You started off.
Officer
Tatum. I have
Tatum
comments about this first one.
Blondie D says Officer Tatum on YouTube is about to put out a video interviewing some of his friends. Interesting. Okay, we'll try to grab that. He does look like White. I know. We'll try to grab that because that's not going to be in here since it's obviously not out yet. But thank you for the heads up.
That frightens me, to be honest.
Well, I don't care what the creator has to say. I care what the person has to say. So.
Well, what I was going to say is I would not have suggested any of them to talk before the autopsy comes out.
Well, I'm curious because is it the friends on the boat or is it the other friends that are there? Because that's what we're hearing is we're hearing a lot from people not on the boat, but not from anybody on the actual boat. So like that's the people that are a little bit more interesting, I would say, that we want to hear from.
Agreed.
What's up, grilled cheese? Okay, so July 4th, as you know, so they put out and some of this, like I said, is not going to be necessarily in the order of how the information was released because it doesn't really make sense to kind of do it that way. So about 10 days after Nolan was found, they put out the GPS for this boat. And so we kind of we have more of a clear timeline on where the boat was and when. So they go, the boat arrives there at about 11:14 in the morning on July 4th. They're all out there pretty much most of the day. There's boats coming, there's boats going, they're all hanging out, they're all drinking. And we can see that in the photos that have been released, that they're, you know, all these kids, 17, 18, 19, probably some maybe even younger, they're all drinking out there. And at about 4 o'clock ish, the group decides that they need to leave because they're having a problem with the boat. And so they tell Nolan, hey, get on the boat. Like, you know, it's time to go. We're going to get on the boat. Well, according to the boys on the boat, statements from, you know, that have been now let out, they're saying that Nolan was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just catch a ride with somebody else. I'm going to stay back here and I'm going to chat with this girl that I just met named Katie. So Katie kind of becomes a big player in the whole thing and goes, no, you guys go ahead. And I'll meet up with you guys later. Because there's tons of people out there on boats. Like I just showed you guys, Trayston's out there and he's on a different boat. Javon's out there. He's on a different boat. So like they all kind of know each other or know each other in passing for him to be able to get this ride on this other boat. So yeah, logical, right? I mean, possible.
And you'll see,
disagree, but.
And I was just going to say real quick, and you'll see in videos, kind of the way that situation is set up is where they kind of don't have a dock. So they all kind of like post up together. So it's just like a lot of boats with a lot of people all together. So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's because it's uninhabited. So there's nobody lives there. Okay. So then, they end up getting the boat, taking the boat back. They say Nolan's not on the boat. That's one of the biggest questions, points of contention, if you will, amongst people that are looking into this is, was he on the boat? Was he not on the boat? Did something happen along this point in time? Well, there's the dispatch that comes out that says, hey, this boat they're calling in from this boat and they're taking on water and they're asking for help. So they also, about 10 days later released this. So we're going to listen to that too. That night, the kids are like, hey, Nolan's not here, what's going on? And they call Nolan's parents, Nolan's mom specifically, and they're like, hey, have you heard from Nolan? And she's like, no, I haven't, why, what's going on? And the kids are like, hey, he stayed behind and we don't know, we haven't heard from him. And the kids that were on the boat have Nolan's phone. So Nolan did not keep his phone with them. So another huge point of contention and debate amongst everybody on social media.
Do we know what friends called his parents?
I do believe they state it, and I want to say that it's Wyatt, but I don't want to be because I like to confuse the two of them.
Or Warren. So it's probably Warren.
It might be Warren. I believe it's Wyatt that called them up. And then they call the Coast Guard and they're like, hey, we've got this, our friend, we can't find him. He was out at Horn Island today. We left him out there. He's going to be hanging out with this girl, whatever. And then they call back at like 12:30 in the morning on, now it's July 5th. And it was Warren. God damn it, Tammy. Of course it was. It was Warren that called.
I told you it would be.
Those two are interchangeable to me, and it's such a problem in my own brain, and I'm so sorry, you guys.
No.
So they call back at like 12:30, and they're like, "Hey, like we need some help, like finding our friend. Like he's not there." So the initial reports that came out was that the boys didn't call until 12:30. Well, so like the first screenshot I have up here, it's just a correction that shows that no, the boys did call on July 4th at around 11 o'clock. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office, as the lead agency and Coast Guard assistance, was not requested from them until 12:26 p.m. on July 5th of 2026. So no, the Coast Guard did not go out immediately. What we actually will learn, and we're going to go through some of the parents' interviews, is that the dad, Nolan's dad, and his football coach actually are the first ones that go out and start looking for him the next morning. So we'll get to that, though.
I thought that Cajun Navy had started prior to the Coast Guard.
So Cajun Navy starts and then they stop. So I believe it's Christina that actually, Nolan's mom, that contacts them, and I think they start and they stop. But we have his interview, so I'll be able to clarify that too.
Okay, great.
So I'm just let me go in here real quick so I can play you guys the dispatch of what was going on. This may have an ad.
Ford is J.D. Power's #1 brand and new.
Blah blah blah. Ford.
Salty, I know she must be reacting to the Cajun Navy. I just have a feeling.
No.
Salty sleuth. The Cajun Navy has a reputation.
Oh yes, they do, absolutely. Okay, and I think it's at like 1.
Friends told
Otherwise?
Yeah.
Otherwise?
Okay, first of all, can you guys hear this?
Yes.
You can. Okay. Called or radioed. I don't think there's cell service on the island. So all the boys and basically all the kids were already back on the mainland by the time that anybody noticed that he had not come back and started to call anybody. So everybody's on the mainland at that point. But as you're saying, Travis, though, there has been a lot of speculation about cell service on this island. So I was doing a little research. There are people who are posting videos from the island. They're not just recording, they're actually posting. And like people are like in comments like, hey, did you when did you take this kind of thing? And this is from way before Nolan was missing and after. So there seems to be some parts of the island that you can get some service, but service is very spotty and not consistent throughout the entire island. So two parts to that question. Okay, so let me back this up.
saw the area firsthand where Wells is believed to have drowned. His body was recovered 2 days later. And this morning, dispatch audio from the boat Wells's friends took home in distress. A person heard requesting help.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's off the way.
Friends told us Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met. While the community and Wells's family await answers, they're planning the 18-year-old's funeral.
We want to celebrate Nolan, and he would not.
Okay, sorry, hold on. Give me 1 second. All my stuff's fallen over, so I apologize. Okay, so that's pretty much what you hear, and then that becomes like a big thing that's being debated online too. Is like they're asking the caller, like, is everybody on board and are they in good health? And the kid's like, yeah, everybody's on board. Well, that could be two different things. Everybody is on board, the boat is not sinking and people are not floating in the water, versus like there's many people on social media who are like, well, they say everybody's on board and we know that's not true because Nolan's not there. And it's like they're not asking, dispatch isn't asking, is everybody on board? Uh-oh, we lost Shaboobies. Is everybody on board that can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Somebody just give me a, yeah, you're not fucking crazy, Teresa. Or maybe you are, but I can still hear you. Okay. Thank God. Okay. We were having some tech issues earlier with her not being able to hear me. So then I was thinking like, shit, can you guys not hear me now?
No, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I just was worried that like people couldn't hear me and I'm just over here just rambling away. And I always say all my best stuff, but nobody can hear me. So I can never remember it to repeat it. What was I saying? Oh, about this call. So like this debate on this call is like, so Nolan's not on board. So why are they saying everybody's on board? And it's like, well, that's not necessarily what they're asking. They're asking if everybody that is on your boat as it's sinking is in good health and is on board, not in the ocean, not in the water.
And Judgy had a question that I noticed. She asked, I'm confused over that phone call. They said the boat was sinking. There was a bilge pump that was malfunctioning. Tammy was the one that put me on that when I did a show about Nolan. But yeah, in the dispatch audio, the full audio, they're discussing how the bilge pump is malfunctioning and that causes it to back up, I suppose, and then it's taking on water and it causes the boat to sink.
Correct. Yeah. So it's basically
what was going on.
It's taking on water, and so it's going to sink eventually if it continues to take on water.
Yeah.
So that's what they're calling for help.
Exactly. And too, with that audio, I don't put anything into that audio really, because the kid also sounds so calm. Like it doesn't sound like anything at that point would have happened to Nolan by that point. If we were theorizing that something had happened with the friends, it's very clear that in at least that moment at 4:30, nothing has gone on in that respect.
Agreed. And at this point, they're calling because they need help, not because somebody's in bad health.
Correct.
Okay. You want to talk about the sheriff? I know you love him.
Go ahead and play audio.
Okay, which one? This one first.
South Mississippi Community.
Actually, hold on. So this is the first press release that comes out from Jackson County Sheriff's Office. And it simply states on July 5th of 2026 that they are currently in search of a missing person, Nolan Xavier Wells. Nolan is described as an 18-year-old black male, approximately 6 foot 1 inch tall, weighing 180 pounds. Nolan was last seen on Horn Island wearing blue, not black, as previously mentioned, because the original one that it went out was that he was in black shorts, but he wasn't. He's in blue shorts, swim trunks, no shirt, and sunglasses. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department is currently searching Horn Island with the assistance of the Department of Marine Resources, the Gulf Island National Seashore, and the United States Coast Guard. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department is reestablishing a command post at Lake Mars boat launch, so on and so forth. Was provided with a photo of Nolan at Horn Island yesterday. And if you have talked to Nolan at Horn Island or any other time and you need to talk to law enforcement, essentially, please contact them. And then they put out this photo of Nolan on his way to or out at Horn Island. So that's July 5th. And then on July 6th, and there's an interview with the sheriff that I could not find that I know I had watched where he's sitting in his car. But for whatever reason, I could not find that link. So I don't know. There was definitely some videos I've watched that I'm like, okay, where did they go? What's up, Schmeed?
He is in mourning tonight after a body was found in the water on Horn Island.
The family of 18-year-old.
South Mississippi community is in mourning tonight after a body was found in the water on Horn Island.
The family of 18-year-old Nolan Wells, who was last seen Saturday afternoon, sharing posts on social media confirming their loss.
Cody Heister has been speaking with authorities in Jackson County and joins us now with more details on what they're learning tonight. Cody.
Well, Hugh, Jennifer, it's been a very heartbreaking and somber day here in Ocean Springs, as what started as a 4th of July trip to Horn Island with friends ended in tragedy. Now, I spoke with Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter today and went over the timeline regarding the death of Nolan Wells. Now, he tells me that Nolan Wells never made it back on the same boat after the group that he was with spent the holiday on the island. And when he didn't return home, his mother called law enforcement late Saturday night around midnight to report him missing. Now, the search ramped up on Sunday as search crews set up a search party site at the Lake Marsh boat launch. Now, this morning, boats headed out just around after 7, and about an hour later, around 8:45, Sheriff Ledbetter says a U.S. park ranger found a body on the northwestern tip of Horn Island matching Wells' description. Then his family was brought to the coroner's office in Pascagoula. Coroner Bruce Lynn told us over the phone that he has no reason to believe that the body isn't Wells, but they are still waiting on DNA confirmation, and that autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. But even after that, even before the official confirmation, Wells' mother took to social media this afternoon, unfortunately, to give the news that the body found was of her son. Now, a lot of unanswered questions in this. I spoke with Sheriff John Ledbetter today, who says that this is a very active investigation, but left this message for people who are still wanting answers.
Number one, give the family space and time. They are still processing this tragic event, and all of Nolan's close friends. And we're still waiting for 100% confirmation. I'll assure you that the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, we're looking at this whole case just like we would any other case, and we're going to be as thorough as we can.
Now, Sheriff Ledbetter tells me that even with the autopsy scheduled for tomorrow, he doesn't believe that there were any signs of foul play. But again, this is a very active investigation, and as answers...
Pause that.
So before you go into this, I just want to make sure that it's very clear that Sheriff did not say that in that interview clip. This news reporter states that the sheriff said.
Yes.
So I think that's a big deal when we're talking about what we're about to say. Go ahead.
Well, if we could find the origin of that statement and who it came from, because that's been an ongoing, consistent statement, was that there were no obvious signs of foul play prior to the autopsy even being performed. That's a problem. So I would love to know the origin of that statement, if it really came from the sheriff. When did he get that statement?
And is it quoted correctly? Because that's a big deal. Is it quoted correctly? You know, upon initial findings, there is not an obvious sign of foul play, which is very normal wording for any police officer when there's no stabbing, there's no gunshots, there's no blunt force trauma.
It's a body that was washed ashore technically by their assessment. So to say there's no signs of foul play before an autopsy is done, when a body takes on what you would assume, debatable, is 48 hours of water retention, it would be pretty hard to tell that there is no sign.
There is no immediate signs of foul play?
It'd be hard to tell. I mean, we're talking about 48 hours in the water. There should be skin splashing.
But they don't typically talk about water death or drowning as in like foul play. And when they say like no obvious signs, it's very much a open wound. Like
I get what you're saying.
This person was shot. It's obvious this person was stabbed 100 times or close to it. You know what I mean? It's obvious.
I get what you're saying. I would just raise you that a lot of people would think to a situation like this about like signs of physical abuse. Like, did it look like he got beat up? That would be hard to tell if a body has been in the water that long. And that would be why I wouldn't say, as whoever may have said that or not, I would never say before an autopsy has been done that there's no obvious signs.
All right, and this is a huge thing since this has come out, and why all of a sudden after this statement, it did create even more of a speculation and argument and the back and forth and all these people who now come in, you know, to have their opinion, because how do you know? Like Shiboogie said, how do you know? What do you mean? What do you know? How do you know?
Right. So yeah, it would be very important to source that. And like you're saying, that's like the start of a lot of contention. That is literally why the parents were like, hold the fuck up. Excuse me, there's been no autopsy yet, and you're saying there's no signs of foul play. Well, what?
Wait,
I mean,
yeah.
that's literally the cause of everything right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that it escalated the entire situation. Thank you so much, Rochelle. That is so awesome. Thank you for being here and supporting the channel and starting a new case. Yeah, we got all kinds of cases. We went through on our bullshit live the other day. We went through just a massive amount of cases that we plan on covering. So we'll see how many I can actually stick in the timelines. Okay, I'm gonna rewind it because I want to hear him say it again.
Doesn't believe that there were any signs of foul play, but again, this is a very
Doesn't believe that there were any signs of foul play.
I was giving him credit and saying the obvious.
Yeah.
He said there were any signs.
So on July 7th, now he puts out a statement, or the Jackson County Sheriff's Office puts out a statement and says, the Jackson County Sheriff continues to actively investigate the circumstances surrounding the death of Nolan Wells, who was last seen alive on Horn Island on July 4th of 2026. We recognize that a significant amount of information, speculation, and commentary has been shared on social media and throughout the community. As with any active investigation, our investigators are working to establish the facts through eyewitness accounts, physical evidence, and other reliable information. We are asking anyone who was on or near Horn Island on July 4th of 2026 to contact the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. If you had any interactions with, sightings of, or statements regarding Nolan Wells, if you have any original unedited photos and videos taken on the northwest tip of Horn Island on July 4th of 2026, particularly those depicting alleged altercations or containing images of or believed to include Nolan Wells, original media often contains critical details that may be essential to the ongoing investigation. So it's basically come and talk to them if you have observed anything. The third one is observed or heard an argument, disturbance, or other unusual activity while on the island at all that day. So then you have, like I said, there is another interview where he's sitting in his car, and I couldn't find it. So hopefully at some point I'll have it for you guys. So then here is the next.
Been a week since Nolan Wells' body.
Interview with the sheriff on
Been
July.
a week since Nolan Wells' body was found on Horn Island. As the country sits and waits for the investigations to conclude, many questions are still left to be answered. Today I spoke with Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter on where the investigation stands. Speculation continues as to what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells over Independence Day weekend. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter met with WLOX to give what updates he could. However, considering
this investigation is active, it's ongoing,
he wasn't able to confirm much. Ledbetter did confirm that interviews have been conducted with witnesses, and the department has been in contact with other departments and agencies, including the FBI. The investigation has benefited from information brought by the community.
This recent week, we've got a lot of valuable information that has come from the public. We put out a call to action last week for that information, and it has been very productive for us.
Many are preparing for the return of Wells' autopsy. However, toxicology testing is conducted by outside laboratories, and the analysis and review process can take several weeks. A spokesperson for the Mississippi Department of Public Safety states every case is unique and deserves a thorough review. Therefore, cases cannot all be handled the same way or in the same timeline. While theories circle social media, those who are close to Nolan are still waiting for closure, as one friend spoke in an ABC interview.
I think everybody needs to let the investigation continue and let the facts be shown. And if the fact shows that somebody harmed Nolan, I hope that there is justice brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody didn't speak up, I still hope justice is brought. The facts is the only thing that's going to overturn that. So that's what I'm just waiting patiently to see before I think anything else. I just know I've lost my best friend.
Wait. So I was cracking up in the middle of that because the fucking editing room was really like,
Very different.
the editing room was really like, well, we wait for it, cut to what the sheriff says, and then he finishes the sheriff's sentence.
Well, so it's also interesting because that one's cut because there's another version of that where he talks about like not rushing anything.
Oh.
Have you seen that? I was like looking for it
No.
while that was playing because I'm kind of irritated that that's like spliced into different. See, this is why I hate fucking mainstream media, dude. It's so bad.
They're the worst. I know.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
I've
So,
finally been awoken to that this year.
Yeah, so it's like another angle of him exactly right where he's standing. But he talks about, and it's another big thing that's been on social media, like an issue with like this case, is how he says he doesn't want to rush anything. And I don't want to misquote him, so I really wanted you guys to hear it. And I thought it would all just be in that same dang clip. But why would I think that, right?
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to misquote him, but essentially what he says is like, I don't want to rush anything. I don't want to rush to answers or something along those lines. Hi, Delina. So, and it looks just like this one. So if you guys find, I don't know, like, it's like, is shit disappearing or am I just like fucking losing my mind? Who knows?
who knows?
So people are not really liking his word choices very much at all.
Yeah. So I just want to say if we, without that original source of like, did the sheriff say that? If not, who did say that? And as we see it, whoever did say that, it still was prior to the autopsy. So that's a problem. So like figure out who the fuck said that because they need to get their shit correct because they caused this entire uproar. Rightfully so. If I'm the parents of Nolan Wells and I hear that shit before an autopsy is even going on, I'm pissed. And I'm asking what the fuck.
Yeah. All right, so here's the search. So here's a couple videos from different perspectives of the search. So I'm going to play those for you guys. Okay, or not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I want to play that one. Don't know why it doesn't want to play. Oh my gosh. There.
July 2026. Hey guys, Josh Gill, United Cajun Navy. It's 6th July 2026. So you've probably seen the media. I'm gonna go ahead and dispel everything now. A body has been recovered from Horn Island. There's been no positive identification. We need to stop the rumors. Just stop it. Law enforcement has a job. The family's going through a hard time. Please, I'm begging you guys, stop with what's going. Just stop the silliness. Stop the comments. You know, let this family start the grieving process. If it is him and there's a positive identification, we gotta be cool, chill out. I know there's a lot of tension, a lot of anger right now. One thing I'm asking for is do not let anger drive you. Don't let anger drive you. It's going to make people do bad decisions and make bad decisions. Don't be anger driven. Be driven by God and be driven by good. Use that energy for something good. Use it.
You were involved when the body was. What can you tell me about the state and position that the?
Can I ask you to pause at points because I think there's. Okay, cool.
Because there's questions.
Oh no, I will like inevitably if I want to say something.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to pause it right now because of questions.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Body was in that hasn't been reported. You started to get into too much joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Before this interview started, you started to get into the sequence of events surrounding, from when Nolan Wells was first reported missing to you getting in your plane. Can you walk us through what your story is?
Yeah, sure. So it was kind of late in the evening on 4 July when we first got a call. I think the first dispatch came in through one of our channels, through either a family member or family friend of Nolan's, who ultimately put our incident commander in touch with his mother, who at that point was in full on search mode. She at that point was very concerned that he was actually missing and was doing everything. They were doing everything they could to kind of retrace the steps, get his phone, get his keys, all that. So really, it was the next morning.
Okay, so this is important because this is why the official timeline and the mainstream media timeline is messed up and confuses me, because the Cajun Navy was already called before midnight on July 5th. So Christine hadn't reported Nolan missing the next day at 12 p.m. They knew this was happening before midnight on 4th of July. And the Cajun Navy is saying that they had already been reached out to for assistance, that late evening. So the official timeline is all fucked up.
They're saying by friends. And then the friends put him in touch with his mom, with Nolan's mom.
The next day, I think, is what they're saying. Like 11 a.m., 12 p.m. It's confusing.
We were told that there was going to be another boat going out, possibly containing some of Nolan's family. I'm not sure what the details were of that in the morning on 5 July. That would have been Sunday. And by late morning, we had gotten basically another call saying, hey, if you guys have any boats in the area and can go out there and canvass the island, would appreciate it. So I had two of my volunteers from the Mississippi chapter from Ocean Springs, actually, that put in like say midday on 5 July. They went out to Horn Island. They went on the island first, took a drone, looked around all over from an aerial view, and then they ran a grid between Horn Island and Ship Island with the boat. Both of these volunteers, one's a rescue specialist, one's actually a member of law enforcement, so they have a lot of experience. And they stayed at it for a few hours, and then weather started to deteriorate, so they came back in. That's when we knew we were done for the day on 5 July. We made the decision that on 6 July, that if the weather permitted, we were going to put an aircraft up because we were getting further and further away from the last time Nolan was seen alive. So that's when we put that aircraft.
Okay, so just to reiterate, they're informed and they know everything before midnight on the 4th of July. On the 5th of July, they began their search, but they had to suspend their search because the weather had gotten so rough for them. And so they had to continue on the 6th. Okay.
Yep.
Up. We were wheels up out of Gulfport International at about 06:30 on 6 July.
Right. And so, when you first get the call, how did the United Cajun Navy get looped in? Was it through Christine Monsley's social post, or was it after? Was it, through your own accord?
Yeah, so the way that happened is, my understanding is that when people started posting on social media about Nolan being missing, that a lot of people started tagging the United Cajun Navy, basically just kind of making us aware that this was going on, and then ultimately kind of sequencing to asking us for help. Like I said, there was an official message. I don't know if it came through our voicemail or through one of our email and one of our social media messaging platforms, but somebody made contact with, and our incident commander, I think, was either monitoring the messages or one of our people monitoring told him about the message that came through. Whoever that person was, it wasn't Nolan's mother, but whoever it was knew her and knew how to get in touch with her, and ultimately put our incident commander in touch.
I think, just having watched all these interviews, it is my belief that the person he's talking about is Javon's mom.
That would not surprise me. We haven't really gotten to her too much yet, but yeah.
Yeah. but I'm just putting it together. I just I'm picking up what he's putting down. Go.
With Kristen that night on 4th of July.
I have a question for you. You know, given the call to the Coast Guard at 11 p.m. and then the request for help the following day from JCSO at around noon, did you feel like you were starting the search a little bit later than you should be?
There wasn't really there wasn't anything that we could have done on the night of July 4th, to be honest. But also too, we at that point I still didn't know. I'll put it this way. On July 4th, when I went to sleep, I didn't know if they had finally gotten in contact with Nolan, if he had come home, if they had found out any new information. It wasn't until the morning of July 5th when I learned that he was still missing overnight. And that's when I became very concerned that, okay, he didn't come home all night. That's a bad sign. And so it was that point when they started calling for all hands and said, okay, we'll put a boat in the water. And then that led to the activities of our search crews on 5 July.
Can you talk to me about the water conditions? What did the water conditions look like that night from where you were?
You're talking about the day he went missing or the day we started searching?
The day you started searching.
They were pretty similar to, for most part of the day, they were pretty similar to the conditions on the 4th of July. They were fairly calm. There was strong currents, but not really big waves, not a lot of wind. It was very hot. Water temperatures were upper 70s, low 80s. Toward the late afternoon, a little front moved in from the west, and presumably it chopped up the Mississippi Sound at that point. But again, our guys aborted when they saw that weather coming. So that was probably like by 3 or 4 o'clock the afternoon of 5 July is when they had to abort that search. And then that night when I huddled with my team, that was when we made the decision that, putting out another boat on Monday, presumably with the weather clearing up, was really going to be futile because, at this point we're getting too far away from the last time he was seen alive. So we needed to cover more ground quickly, and that's why we had to use an aircraft.
You were involved when the body was eventually located and found. What can you tell me about the state and position that the body was in that hasn't been reported?
Yeah. So again, just to put it into perspective, it was I'm told it was about 08:45 on 6 July when a park ranger on Horn Island discovered the body, called it in.
Pause.
Law enforcement.
All right, guys. This is kind of my segment coming up, so I need you to pay attention to this. So, let me get my students in order. 8:45 in the morning. If you don't know military time, 8:45 in the morning on July 6th is when a park ranger found Nolan washed up on shore from where he went missing. Okay, go ahead.
It was the northwest tip of Horn Island.
Yeah,
which is the same area that they were docked at and that he was last seen. So that's a kind of an important piece of information, that if he drowns there and then nobody sees him there on July 5th, how is he back there on July 6th? How's his body back there on July 6th? So it was a park ranger that found him on the morning of July 6th. The Cajun Navy guys are in a plane at this point.
Correct.
So they're flying over. So he does see some of it, but he kind of talks about what he sees by
right.
He's there.
Man, we had myself and the gentleman who donated his plane that day out of Gulfport. We had been flying for about 2 hours at that point. We were making a track going from Horn Island over to Ship Island down to Chandelier Island, which is south of both of those islands, about another 30 miles. So we were coming back up north towards the northwest tip of Horn Island when we noticed there were boats in the center of the island where there's a lagoon, and then we saw some boats approaching the northwest tip. And then when we got closer, we noticed there were 2 boats already parked in tandem on the beach. And that was strange. It was a Monday morning. It was obvious they weren't fishing. So we descended and to about maybe 450 feet, 500 feet, and we could tell it was law enforcement boats, law enforcement personnel. So we descended maybe another 100 feet or so, circled around, And that's when I saw a law enforcement presence gathering on that northwest point. And then I noticed that there was what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline, laying face down on the sand.
The implication is that this body had washed up, unfortunately, on the shore.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
Did you see any visible injuries or anything that you can speak to at that distance?
No, from that height, right? So it's best I can do. The description matched Nolan Wells. It matched the area. It was the area where we were looking. So I had good reason to believe, even before I heard from the sheriff's office, that it was him. The swim trunks appeared to be similar color to what was reported. The one thing I'll say about the condition of the body, and again, I want to stress very, as much as I can, that I'm at 450 feet in the air. So I did not have a good ground's eye view look.
There you go.
But normally when a body's been floating, you'll see some bloating and whatnot. He wasn't in the water that long. The water temperature was high. He has a low body mass index. So both of those factors together, normally we'll look for a body to pop up on about day 4, but we knew it was possible he could pop up as soon as day 2. And this was day 2. But again, the body, I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now, I could not get a good look at his face. I could not get a good look of the front side of his body, which was on the beach. I was really looking at his back of his legs, back of his arms, that kind of thing. And so that was my vantage point. And I just want to stress to everybody that that's not an ideal vantage point. It's just what I could see. And plus I'm flying at like 90 knots. So, I'm going pretty fast. So I'm really getting when I say a glimpse, it's a glimpse.
Was there anything about the location, how close to shore, how far from the shore when he was last seen, that struck you as unusual?
I don't want to say unusual, but I would say that the wind and drift patterns that I was studying had me believing that he was going to be taken through that ship channel between Horn Island and Ship Island and carried south. It's important to also point out that just like maybe 6 or 7 weeks prior to this, there was a shrimp boat worker who had gone off MOB, man overboard, off of a shrimp boat in Pascagoula, which is on the coast, like close to Horn Island. And it took about a week before we found him, but he had washed up all the way down at the Chandelier Island. So that could have also influenced my pattern of thought, just because in a similar, he didn't go overboard on the island, but it was in a similar area and he got carried through that channel. Based on where Nolan washed up, my assumption, again, I'm a search and rescue person. I'm not an investigator, but it seems like what happened was he was carried north, which indicates to me that he might have got caught in a rip current, and it carried him north. And then as the tide slacked and the current changed back to a southward heading, it carried him right back to the beach. The only thing that really stood out to me that I was not expecting is that he washed up very, very close to the last spot where he was seen alive. I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you saw or heard during the search that you feel hasn't gotten enough public attention?
I think that the biggest thing that stands out for me, and I think this sort of is why I understand the way that his parents have gone about this search and the whole case, is that there's just seems to be no information past about 4:30 that afternoon on July 4th until he was found. Now, I'm told that police have interviewed up to 60 witnesses. There's a lot of people who have turned in images and videos to us, and there's people I know that have turned images and videos over to law enforcement. So there's a lot about this. There's a lot of evidence in this case I have not personally seen, and a lot of accounts I have not heard. But based on everything that people did offer to us, it's just it's just hard to understand why, his friends leave, sometime around 4:30. That seems to be about the last time somebody said they visually saw him on the island with a different friend group, and then just nobody ever saw him again. after that. And so that's why I like I said, I fully understand the parents are like, I mean, it's like a vanishing, and that doesn't make any sense. So like, of course they accept every bit of help they can get. And
y'all, boy, do I have problems with this. All right.
I know you do. I know you do.
Okay.
Okay.
So me being my dumb old, not a professional, not an expert in shit, just like watched a lot of true crime, seen a lot of TV, seen a lot of movies. When I hear about a rip current taking someone away, my first initial reaction is that don't make no sense for the body to end up right back where it started from, right? Okay, that was just my initial thought, and I was like, okay, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not Bill Nye. I don't know how this shit works. So, and like Tammy in chat was saying, they call this something like a washing machine of an area where,
right.
And I'm reading an article on the side after that comment. Someone saying a current that rolls around and around in there. Okay, so we'll give them that. Okay, I guess. That being said,
so drowning victims, the common thing that happens is that their bodies sink. So when you drowned, the weight of your body goes down. So he drowns, he sinks to the bottom. They go and they look in this area on July 5th. They can't find him. And then your body will rise, obviously, from all the gases coming out. And so your body will rise, and then that's when you would float, and possibly the tide would take you to the same place or very close to the same place that you drowned. I mean, it could take you, depending on how it's going to, how the tide is going right then, it could take you somewhere further, but the chances are it's going to take you very close to where you were, because you haven't moved because you sank.
Okay, so before I get to the data of the tide in the area and the wind speed and all that fun stuff.
If he was caught in a rip current, correct. But if he's not, if he just drowns, he's just going to sink.
But the only way you would assume to drown if you're like up there partying, well, who knows? We don't know what happened to him after 4:30. Like this gentleman was saying, we don't fucking know. We could assume a rip current took him 5 minutes later after 4:35. We could assume he went back out an hour later and just took a walk by himself and fell in deep water. We don't know. All right. But from this gentleman's experience observing up above at 450 feet, Judgy, I saw you ask, 450 feet up, what he was saying there was he noticed from that vantage point that the body was not experiencing the normal type of bloat from the gas that he would expect at that point. At that point, assuming Nolan had drowned pretty much soon after 4:30, just because we don't know, that's less than 48 hours later. However, the water temperature, which I looked up on the 4th and the 5th, was 83 to 85 degrees. Now that is very warm. And we all know through our true crime studies that the hotter something is, the quicker decomp goes and whatnot, which would explain why the body only took less than 48 hours to actually end up on shore if he had drowned and came back. Okay, but the issue I have now with that is he's saying he didn't notice any kind of bloating that he would expect at that point. There's also a continued issue of statements saying that he said he was fully clothed.
Well, his shorts are on.
His shorts are on, but he says in a statement fully clothed. It's being quoted in multiple articles now because a lot of people are having issue with the fully clothed part, because people are wondering if he means he had a t-shirt on as well as the shorts. And notice he notates the back of his arms and legs. He doesn't say anything about notating Nolan's back. So I found that interesting. But that aside, okay. So remember what I said from the beginning. How can you say before the autopsy's even been started that there were no signs of foul play when it's excessive water damage? You wouldn't be able to tell if there was like physical abuse going on that body anyway. Well, what if he didn't see all that?
Well, he wouldn't have been able to.
Well, I'm saying the sheriff, when he was making those statements on the body, prior to the autopsy even happening, the statements of there being no signs of foul play, if the body didn't have that excess gas, excess water damage like you would expect at 48 hours later, then that might be why he says, oh, well, I saw the body and I didn't see any obvious signs of foul play or like any signs of trauma, because the body to him also looked to be in a normal condition, a more normal condition.
All right, so Tammy sent me this this clip. So it's like the washing machine on Horn Island. It's an undeveloped barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Yeah, blah, blah. Refers to a notoriously treacherous churning body of water off the island's northwestern tip. It's known for its unpredictable rip currents and rapid drop-offs. That's another thing, and I don't think he actually even mentioned that either in the searching, is that they say it can go from like 3 foot deep to like a drop-off to 20 foot deep. And like, he just wouldn't even know it was going to happen.
So I went ahead and looked up what the normal, what through AI, I looked up what you would expect a body to travel like. Now, this is under the pretext that he was taken by a rip current. This is not under the pretext of he just drowned somehow.
Okay.
Okay. So it tells me that given the conditions and that area and the rip currents and all that, he should have traveled westward. Okay. So Horn Island is a long, narrow, east-west oriented barrier island. Its northeast tip is at the western end of the island. Rip currents on the Gulf facing south side of the island flow roughly perpendicular to the shore. They flow primarily southward out to sea from that location. That is exactly what that gentleman from the Cajun Navy was saying, that he would be taken southward. Now, that's speaking once the rip current is taking him southward. We're not talking about when he travels back. Okay, quick geography context. Oh, wait, dominant current. Okay, along the northern Gulf of Mexico coast in this region, no, I can't read. Take it down.
Sorry.
The predominant longshore current and net longshore sediment transport flows westward from east to west. This is driven by prevailing southeasterly winds, wave action approaching at an angle, regional circulation patterns. What happens to the body? Okay, again, this is all just rip current. The rip current carries the body straight out. That's southward. That's what the Cajun Navy gentleman meant when he said the body goes southward, beyond the surf zone. Once it's offshore, it enters the influence of longshore current and regional Gulf circulation, which tends to move material westward. Likely outcome, the body would most probably drift and eventually wash ashore to the west. Possible landing areas could have been the western section or ends of Horn Island itself, the pass channel between Horn Island and Ship Island, or areas further west toward Cat Island. Okay, drift is not, important caveat to the end, this is not 100% predictable. In calm summer conditions, westward movement dominates, blah, blah, blah. Strong winds or tropical systems can temporarily alter. Okay, what's the next one? Okay, so this is after I also made sure I put in the speed and the wind data. Okay, so then I asked it from that position, if a rip current took it, does it make sense for it to end up where he started? No, it does not make sense. Why? It's unlikely. Rip current behavior. A rip current pulls water, in this case, generally southward from the Gulf, facing side at the northwest tip. Near shore rip current cells are often somewhat circular. Water goes out in the rip, then moves parallel to the shore. Once the body is carried even a moderate distance offshore by the rip, it enters the broader longshore current, which flows westward along this stretch of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. This westward drift is the dominant consistent pattern driven by southeasterly winds and angled waves. Blah, blah, blah. Exact return would require very specific conditions. For the body to wash up exactly at the same spot it was left, the local rip cell would have to dominate completely. There would need to be almost no net westward longshore movement, or an unusual local edge right at the exact location would have to form. Bottom line, out via rip southward, then carried westward along the coast before washing ashore, somewhere west of the starting point. Returning exactly to the same spot is possible, but improbable and not what the current patterns support as a reasonable expectation. Okay, so I tried to shorten that as much as possible.
Okay, so give us a good summary on what you think then, with your research.
I think that a rip current could not have been what happened here, at the very least.
Could or could not?
Could not.
Okay.
So we still have, he drowned some other way up there, you know. But according to this, a rip current would not have taken him out and him end up right there.
Right.
And now also going through what the Cajun Navy guy had just said, he was also face down.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have verification how much in the water it was. It sounds like he was like on shore, but we don't even necessarily know how in the water he was.
You're talking about during the potential drowning that we're discussing,
when
or
they found him.
found him?
When
how
they
much on
found
shore
him.
and how much in water? Okay.
Correct. Yeah. But you know, it would be hard to figure that out anyway because the tide goes in, whatever. But so my point is, if he's in the water for 48 hours, the state of the body does not add up to at least what the Cajun Navy thinks he saw from at least 450 feet up. And that to me concerns me and makes me go, what the fuck? Also, I think an important thing is, again, what the fuck happened after 4:30 when those kids said bye and they had boat issues and they left. I think everyone is so quick to start defending those friends, the Warren, the Wyatt, and those guys. They're so quick to defend the friends as not having anything to do with it. Well, yeah, they probably, maybe they didn't, but that doesn't mean that someone else on that island didn't do something.
Right. Okay.
So there's a whole other section, a whole other person that we're going to talk about, Katie.
Oh yeah, I haven't got there yet.
Right. So I'm just saying, it doesn't necessarily have to be the friends. There is this whole chunk of time after 4:30 where we don't know where the fuck Nolan is. And no one, mind you, we all know those boats are all together and docked, or docked but not docked. Everyone's partying together, and we have got no sight of Nolan after 4:30 or 3 p.m. technically.
Okay, so I wasn't going to bring that up yet, but I have an issue with this, the 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. time frame. But we'll get to that when we start talking about people's accounts of what happened on that day.
Yeah, so let's just continue ahead. It's just, yeah.
Okay, so I just put this together just pretty simple of who's on what boat. So we know that there's at least, there's obviously tons and tons of boats out there, but the ones for this immediate conversation, we know that there's at least the 4. And so it's like, you know, who was on the boat going to Horn Island and who was on the boat on the way back to the mainland. This is something that I would really like your guys' help with, because I cannot get confirmation on much of any of it. Like I said, with the boat that we know that Nolan was on, we know that Warren, Wyatt, potentially Morgan, Eli, which is Jax. Eli is his real first name, but he goes by Jax. And then potentially Ike, which is Wyatt's brother. And then there's a female that is also potentially on this boat, and I don't know who the female is. So I didn't know if any of you guys that have been following this for a little while have a little bit more of a clarification on exactly who's on this boat. We know from the call into that the boat was taking on water that there was 7 people on the boat. So who are those 7 people? So we know that Nolan's not on the boat when it's taking on water. We know Warren, Wyatt, supposedly Morgan, and Jax are. So if you guys have any more clarification on this, or you know who's on what boat, like, please feel free to let me know. That's one of my big questions is like, did all these people go to Horn Island on a boat and all of them go home on the exact same boat? Or was it normal for somebody to just hop on a different boat? Because I could see that being myself at 18, 19 years old, that I've got like 30 other friends there with different boats that I'm like, dude, I'm not ready to go back yet. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just catch a ride with so-and-so.
Makes total sense. The only thing that doesn't make sense is I'm catching a ride with so-and-so, but give me my fucking phone back.
See, I wouldn't want my phone.
Nolan was chronically online.
But he wasn't.
His mom said he was.
But his friends say he wasn't.
Okay, let's continue.
So
but which friends?
That's kind of the thing. It's like, so I mean,
Which
chronically
friends?
online, like, I think is very different to like our generation where we didn't have those types of phones. Like, you're online a lot more than I ever was because I couldn't do that. So you're on your phone way more than I was ever on a phone. Is kind of how I see it. But like my kids, like, they don't take their phone with them. I keep hearing this big thing about the phone with like he's a teenage boy, like he's gonna have his phone with him. And it's like, I have one of those, and he does not always have his phone on him.
Mm-hmm.
He does not. He doesn't always. He's not going swimming and getting. And like, I know Nancy Grace did this. Just for anybody's who's curious, I did not throw any Nancy Grace clips in here because that's just a waste of time. But Nancy Grace even says this too. Like, she's like, when my boys and I go swimming, like, we have our little wet packs and stuff.
Oh
and it's
God.
like, well, yeah, because you're old. You're older. So yeah, you're going to go buy a wet pack. Like, tell me how many of these teenage kids are going to go buy a wet pack or whatever in order to take their phone with them. They're just not doing it. And if I'm docked, if I'm anchored out into the water and I have to jump in and it's, chest deep, I'm not taking my phone with me. There's a good chance I'm not taking my phone. My kids wouldn't take their phones. My daughter would be probably the only one that might.
I think it's fair to say that's possible, while it also being fair to say it's really kind of abnormal sounding for an 18-year-old single dude to be like, I'm going to hang back with this girl and not bring my phone. Like, what if he loses track of her? He needs her number. Like,
but they all know each other. So he may not know her personally. So Nolan meets this Katie chick, but like she's part of the same group of people.
Yeah,
they're
but like,
they're all friends. He just
they're gonna want to have each other's number in case something were to happen.
No, I don't know. And my kids don't talk to anybody on the phone. They don't text anybody on the phone. Everything is through Snapchat or through Instagram. And how easy it is. If Katie has her phone, here, that's me on Instagram. Follow me, send me a message.
Well, that's Instagram.
I need my phone to do that.
He needs his phone to go to Snapchat and use the Snapchat, which is
he just goes in there and shows them.
No, you have to have your phone to go on. Oh, like to add him on her Snapchat? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't need his phone to do it. He doesn't need his phone to like get her number even. He could just type his phone number into her phone if they're going to exchange numbers. But I'm telling you, like, most kids nowadays are not communicating via text message. It's on an app. Via text message. That's my old lady speak for you.
Yeah. So.
What's up, London Amber?
Anyway, but I think very also important part of this story here, because I think we get into Katie after this.
I think so too. Soon,
is the fact that the story that, as we've been told from Nolan's friends, who I have no reason to not believe because they sound pretty calm and chill at 4:30 when they're leaving. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, no reason to not think they're not telling the truth, right? But they say that Nolan says he's going to stay back and hang out with Katie. But then here come Katie telling Nolan's mom, no, he said he was going to go back with his friends. So who's lying? Because the friends sound calm and normal when they're going back.
I don't know if that's anybody's necessarily lying. I hear that question comes up too. I don't know if anybody's necessarily lying. If he says, I'm going to go get with my boys and get on the boat to head back, or, you know, like, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm going to go with my boys. Well, he's got boys on all kinds of boats.
Yeah, I think you hear her statement. She says clearly that she was going to go back to those, he was intending to go back to those friends, those specific friends.
Katie's, we have Katie's statement?
No, like what I've read from her. Let's just, instead of me just popping off the mouth, let's go with the facts that you have.
I don't know how much of this is actually facts. This is just a shit ton of social media stuff.
Yeah,
okay, so there's a couple slides just on information of people posting on social media about where they were at in comparison to like Nolan's boat and the other kids that were on Nolan's boat. So I threw those in here too. There's a couple things that are interesting. So like there's this Brandy chick who says the kid on the right told his friends to go ahead when he waded up to our boat. The boat was about 200 yards from us, but appeared to be a dark blue bay boat, about 22 foot and way overcrowded. It looked like standing room only. It was packed with kids. A lot of young, intoxicated kids making bad decisions. That water can be unforgiving, especially with the currents. I hate to see the race card being used here, blah, blah, blah. But her most important thing is just what she sees. So the kid on the right looks like the kid that tried to hitch a ride with us and said he told his friends to go ahead and he'd catch a ride in with somebody. We dropped anchor around 11 closer to the west tip and saw them all walking toward the dunes. There was probably 200 college-age kids together down there. We ended up moving down by my wife's mom and dad, but we didn't see any of them again until we were leaving when we were approached by the young man on the right. That was around 4:30 or 4:45. He was alone when he walked up to us. We told him that we were at capacity, and he said no problem, that they had more friends out there that he could get a ride back with. Is this true? I have no idea. This is this Brandy and Johnny comment on social media. So you can take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Like, we know how this goes. We've been in true crime long enough to know that people sometimes just like to say stuff.
Which is interesting because, again, plenty of other people out there, just because his white buddies didn't do it doesn't mean something else didn't happen to him later on.
Right. So here's another one. This Matthew gentleman says, one of my passengers is pretty certain that he was part of the group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. We're going to get into this fighting thing in a minute. The Bertram, which is the type of boat with the blue top that I posted, left shortly after that and pretty fast. Okay, so then there's Caitlin, who says we were parked right next to them and he was nowhere in sight when we left at 7:30 p.m. So his friend Lucas says the last time I spoke to him was when he said I have to leave, and it was probably 2:30, but there was a huge group of people with several boats around for all I can remember. I last saw him get on a white boat with a center console before I had left, so that's all the information I can provide. And then he does an interview with Inside Edition.
A final goodbye today for Nolan Wells, the Mississippi teen who died after going boating with friends. His funeral comes as his parents still have questions about what happened on that trip to remote Horn Island, popular on weekends with boaters. We went to see what it's like as one of Nolan's friends who was there that day speaks out. Justin Finch has the details.
The funeral of college football star Nolan Wells took place in his hometown of Ocean Springs, Mississippi today.
Nolan's life matters. Nolan's life matters.
His death is being treated by cops as an accidental drowning, but his family has hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump to lead an independent investigation.
We're on a ferocious search for the truth,
the
whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Meanwhile, one of the last people to see Nolan Wells alive is speaking out to Inside Edition today. 18-year-old Nolan vanished during 4th of July celebrations on an island off the coast of Mississippi. His body washed up 2 days later.
There were so many people. I mean, boats, they're like on top of each other almost.
So this is Lucas. This is the kid who made this comment.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was intense.
Lucas Aviz is a college classmate of Nolan at Southwest Mississippi Community College. He says he went to Horn Island with his family and friends on a different boat and ran into Nolan there.
I'd say he's pretty hammered. He would slur his words. His movement was slow.
Nolan and 3 friends had arrived on Horn Island at around 11 a.m. According to authorities, the friends say they left around 4:30 p.m., but they say Nolan told them that he was staying behind. According to reports, he had met a young lady and wanted to hang out with her. Lucas says he was devastated when he heard later that night that his friend was missing.
He may have been taken by the current, and I'm guessing he drowned. There's a certain part of the island where the current is pretty strong.
Inside Edition cameras return to Horn Island. It's an uninhabited barrier island in the Gulf and a favorite destination for teens who want to party. There are also dangerous currents. This video shows how crowded the island was that day. No matter how it came about, nothing can take away the pain of Nolan's family or the tragedy of.
Okay, so that's his statement. And then there's this one that's actually, I don't know, you can take it or leave it. For, like I said, I don't know how accurate these are. I don't know how, none of these are confirmed. These are just people on social media who are saying that they were there and this is what they saw. So it says, bro didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend, Blank, and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and Evan was trying to be hard and Nolan was definitely screaming, give me my phone back. What is wrong with what's wrong with you or something like that. So they all calmed down. So that's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a party. So yes, we came to the party and yes, we was drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high. And I think they was trying to get Blank and Natalia to try some as well. But yes, they got into it again at the party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know even Evan's mom kicked us all out once they started fighting. It was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren was basically recording and laughing, saying, get him, get him, get him. And all I could hear was Blank screaming, Mom. So yes, I tried helping them. His mom come out screaming, yelling, making us leave, and was saying she was going to call the cops on us if we didn't leave her house. But they didn't let Blank leave, and Blank was by the basketball goal that was inside Blank, and he was leaning over beside it, gasping for air. So this is like the drama side of things.
I remember this. Yeah, I read that and I was like, oh, it felt icky reading it.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't feel legit to me.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was trying to grab the accounts of people who say they were there. So I can't just take my own opinion and discount it because I don't know for sure.
Do we know when that got posted, that comment?
No, I don't. Mm-hmm. I can just tell you who posted it.
Because it'd be interesting if we already had that video come out where you can hear that audio. It's like, well, no duh, you could just make that up because you saw the video.
Well, then she's talking about like a fight later on that night at Evan's house.
Right, which could just be made up shit, but they use like the same information from the video, you know?
Right, because somebody else says that they're not at Evan's house, that they're at Eva's house.
Mm.
So I don't know. You tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's some more. So this chick is I put all hers on one page. So her name is Ivy Elizabeth. I'm just gonna call her that because you can see her name. You can see her last name on the other screenshot. But she was posting some information about this too, and she said, "I'm actually on the boat that you paused on. The guy heard yelling is on our boat. He's the one who got in a fight and was pissed that we wouldn't let him leave the boat. The video was taken at 4 o'clock. The fight was already over. There were so many people, and I was focused on the guy who started the fight with the guy on our boat, making sure he'd leave. So I cannot confirm nor deny if it was Nolan that was there or not at that time. The fight itself did not, however, involve Nolan." So very confusing because they don't say anybody's damn name. So it's like the guy heard yelling is on our boat. He got in a fight and he was pissed. We wouldn't let him leave the boat. Okay, so that's important for what we're about to get into. She says, like, I've been trying to comment it everywhere. I just want to clarify what happened because people are using this video to make it seem like Nolan was involved in this fight when he wasn't. Because what's crazy is the guy actually yelling is a mixed guy yelling at a white guy, and we have 2 other black young men just on our boat, but everyone is saying he was the only black person among all the white people. Also, 2 of the 3 people I was with were his friends.
Tristan and we're talking about Tristan and Evan.
And Evan.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So also 2 of the 3 people I was with were his friends. So he wasn't the only black person or even the only black person among that group. And then this is only a partial that I got. It's a response to, I think he does most of his creating stuff on Facebook. And I wish I could tell you his name, but I don't remember it right this second. So this is only just a bit of something that she had sent to him. So it's about 5. He was getting off the boat. The last time I saw Nolan, though, I don't remember, but it was way before the fight happened because he got on our boat and got some brisket from us and gave us a hug, me and my aunt. So that was the last time I saw him, but that was way earlier in the day. And again, there were so many people around. Anything could happen at any moment. My husband's military, so we are very head on a swivel type people, and we had our kids out there, and anything can have, especially with small kids, anything can, I'm assuming, can happen, especially if you have small kids. So we were trying to mainly pay attention to our kids and our immediate family, but Nolan did come up. He gave me a hug and gave my aunt a hug, got a brisket sandwich from us, and then went back in the water with his friends. And then Javon, again, was with us with Tristan, and then that's basically the end of that message. Yeah, they're cooking brisket on the boat. I don't know. Maybe they just had brisket. Who knows? They'd already brought it with them.
I don't like brisket. Just fun fact.
Side note.
Side note.
So I can't for the life of me place Ivy. I'm thinking that she's on the same boat as Tristan, but I do not know for sure.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Just based off of her messages. Okay, so this is the big thing that comes like this. This is like the first video that pops out about Nolan Wells, and everybody's like, you can hear Nolan in here screaming, give me back my fucking phone. And it like turns into this whole thing, including the representative Ben Crump, the civil rights activist that is now taken up with Nolan Wells' parents in order to get justice. He says that this is exactly what he hears on this video as well. So the video is taken by a girl named Anna. She says it's taken at 4:01 on the north side, the west tip. We're parked right next to the boat that Nolan was allegedly on. Hope this helps. This was immediately after the big fight that broke up on the shore. She said, I'm not sure if it was Nolan, but I guess it could be. Anyone that can slow down the videos, please go through it and do whatever you want. She posts her Snapchat timestamp of 4:01 p.m. So I took the video, and it's on here twice, so it's going to play twice. So the first one is like for you to listen, and then the second one is to tell you what I hear. So. So that's what I hear.
From asking actresses about their underwear to heated exchange.
Thank you. Don't need any of that. So I hear him say like, what the fuck? And then he's like, at least let me off the fucking boat so I can get my fucking girl. Or the motherfucking boat so I can get my girl.
Which aligns with Tristan's interview upcoming.
It does a little bit, yeah. So I put it in there, like I said, I put it in there twice so that you guys, I don't hear anything about a phone at all.
I
think people think that where he says boat is phone, maybe?
That be a boat?
That be a boat?
That be a phone?
That be a boat? So I'll play it one more time so you guys. It almost
Most
sounds like he's
female
saying
fans at a
Tommy.
mat-
And I wish I knew who else was on the boat with him, because it almost sounds like he says Tommy at the end of that. But I don't know for sure. So I couldn't quite make that out. I couldn't quite make that out. So anyway, so this was like the original thing, and I think everybody's pretty much dropped this now that it's really been confirmed that it was not
Nolan
in this fight. And that fight didn't actually have anything to do with the phone, but it just goes to show you how even the family's representatives have totally pushed a social media narrative to cause more chaos. So this is the second video. A lot of you guys have probably seen this today because TMZ released it today like it's a brand new video. Like, hey, we have this brand new video that shows Nolan Wells. This video has been circling the internet literally since Nolan Wells was found. So I'm going to show you that, and then you can see that it's how it's made its progress. And then TMZ is like, oh, look, we got this video. So let me see if I can actually get it to play, because it doesn't ever want to do that. Of course not. Why would it just play like I want it to? That's just
I'm gonna come out of sleuth retirement to bring
you guys may remember Riley Lively
that I found of Nolan.
Bigger on
Wells.
TikTok than YouTube.
This does not mean I'm into true crime, back into that stuff full time. I'm just saying. Thought I'd share. I was just laying here breastfeeding my little angel baby and digging around online, and I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. It looks like him in the grayish blue shorts on the back of the larger white boat. And then when it pans, pay attention, there's like a boat with a blue awning, which kind of matches the photo posted of him that was taken on the 4th of July. So here you go.
So you guys see. I want to play again, so you guys can see. So this is the second video.
So I don't know. Okay.
What the heck?
And then when it pans, pay attention. There's like a boat with a blue awning, which kind of matches the photo posted of him that was taken on the 4th of July. So here you go.
So this is like the big thing that's like come out is like, is this Nolan Wells? A lot of people believe that it is, on a boat called Little Daddy, that many believe is Katie's boat or Katie's family's boat. So, and they believe that this is Katie's dad, who matches very similar looks to pictures that Katie has posted of her dad on social media. So, okay, so then you have TMZ putting it out today. There's a little bit of a longer version of it. There, so that's what people believe is Nolan Wells on the boat named Lil Daddy, and that this is Katie's dad.
Which
that's hilarious.
Which would align with this story that like around this time he might have thought he was going to hang back with Katie.
So we don't know the time of this video.
I thought it was I don't know.
No, not that I've seen. If anybody knows it, let me know, because I've not seen anybody put a time to this video.
DB, it's not that. Oh, it's a black man. It's because his shorts are.
DB ain't wrong though, because legit, that is exactly what people are doing. They're like, oh, here, look, there's a photo of 10 guys and one of them's black. That's got to be Nolan, because the initial narrative was that there was only one black person out there that day. Yeah. Everybody else is white, and then there's Nolan. And like, come to find out, that's bullshit. That was never even the case to begin with. And so yeah, they're pointing out like any black person has to be Nolan. It's like a black chick's over there, and they're like, that's Nolan. And it's like, no, she's wearing like a red bathing suit, guys. Like,
right.
Yeah. Like, nope, that's Nolan. Okay, let me go back. So that's the second video, the big one that people are thinking that could potentially be the last time that Nolan was seen. Okay, so this is Tristan, however you want to say his name. I don't know how he actually pronounces it. I think it's Tristan is how he pronounces it.
I just know I've lost my best friend.
He's getting a lot of shit.
I just know I've lost my
He says
best
he lost
friend.
his best
This morning,
friend.
a friend of Nolan
And
Wells.
his mom came out and was like, that was not Nolan's best friend. But it's like, that doesn't mean that Nolan wasn't his best friend. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody, and sometimes people have more than one best friend in different ways of life.
Who was with the 18-year-old the day he was last seen alive, is sharing what he says happened during a July 4th boat trip to an isolated barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Tristan Shepard declined to speak with us on camera because he says he and his friends are getting threats.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Shepard addressed this viral video that investigators have been studying. Wells's parents worried it showed their son involved in a confrontation, but Shepard said that's him, not Wells.
That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they've ever hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Investigators believe Wells drowned and say there were no immediate signs of foul play. But there is growing frustration in the community, and his parents are skeptical, telling GMA Wells left his phone behind and they tracked it to one of his friends.
It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land.
The sheriff said the parents have not turned over the phone to investigators. Their lawyers said they will. While the investigation goes on, Tristan Shepard wants the focus on his friend.
I want everybody just to relax and let everybody mourn the loss of Nolan, and let us remember him as in like the sweet guy. I think everybody needs to let the investigation continue and let the facts be shown.
Shepard has spoken with the police guys, and the sheriff told us that both he and all of Wells's friends have been cooperative. We're still waiting on the results of the official autopsy and the independent autopsy the family has ordered, hoping to get the Wells family the answers that they so desperately seek. Guys.
So good to have you there, Aaron, and your investigative team.
Okay. And then I think the other one is literally just like an article that kind of just says the same thing. I think I put both in here. No, I think this is more about the video. So he says that, oh yeah, this is more. So this is the start of the disagreement between Tristan and his girlfriend has been at the center of a swirl of questions around the tragic death of 18-year-old Mississippi football player. Somebody asked earlier about like that people keep saying like he was a football legend or like he was like, you know, all these things. And I think that just has to do with the fact that he was an 18-year-old football player and was doing well. I mean, he was going to a community college playing football. I mean, it's not like he was drafted into the NFL. So, I mean, I get like people are like, why are they saying that? I think it's just because he's, you know, he had a lot of drive when it came to sports, specifically football. What's up, Keith? So the video posted to social media of a group of young people seemingly in a heated altercation has been believed to be the last time Wells was pictured or heard on a video before his disappearance and death. We don't actually believe that Nolan is in that video, or he's not easily recognizable in this video, which has made national news. But Shepard, which is Tristan, a close friend of Wells, says what really happened in the video isn't how it's been portrayed. That around 3:30 on July 4th, Shepard says he was with a large group of friends from high school, including Wells, to celebrate the holiday. So this is now 3:30. To celebrate the holiday, Shepard and his family took a boat over to Horn Island, blah, blah, blah. The friends often took the 45-minute ride. Okay, I don't care about that. Shepard says he was waist deep in the water surrounding Horn Island, having a disagreement with his girlfriend that afternoon when a young man his age walked by and criticized their conversation. The man was an acquaintance from a nearby town who had not come over on the boat with Shepard or Wells.
This is Evan.
This is Evan. I believe it's Evan.
Mm-hmm.
I should say I believe it's Evan. I do not know that it is Evan. I believe it's Evan.
We think it's Evan.
Yeah. I told him he needed to mind his own business, Trayson said, and then said the exchange became heated and that he and the other guy ended up getting into a physical altercation. Shepard's uncle, who had raised him like a father, who's also there on the same boat as Trayson, told Shepard to get out of the water and onto his boat so they could head back home. Shepard complied, but once he got on the boat, he changed his mind and decided he wanted to go back. And Shepard's friends had, by that point, begun defending him back on shore. Around this time, another adult on a nearby boat started filming the video, which we see, later posting it on social media after news of Wells' disappearance broke. In that video, you hear somebody yelling. Trayson says, that is me. It's me yelling. My exact word is, get me off this fucking boat. I wanted to fight, and I felt like I hadn't had my fair share.
So I wanted to say, like, I've been, me personally, with Nolan's case right now, I haven't even begun to, like, think about if someone did kill Nolan, who and why. Like, I haven't even gone there in my mind because we literally don't even have the preliminary autopsy results, which they are being announced tomorrow. We'll show you guys that, but I haven't even gone there in my mind. However, if these preliminary autopsies leave something to be desired for more information, I'm looking at him.
At this kid?
Yeah. You got anger issues. Calm the fuck down.
Well, he's 18. I mean, about 18. So he says the Shepard's girlfriend says she had gone over to the beach when the altercation moved there, and Shepard's uncle says a group of older adults stepped in and broke up the fight between the younger adults on the shore. Shepard's girlfriend and uncle corroborated his story, as did a family friend who can be seen in the video trying to calm Shepard down. He wanted to get off the boat and go fight the dude who he got into it with, said the family friend. Nobody knows what Trayson was saying better than me because he was screaming it in my face. This is his uncle. It's like, yeah, that was definitely him. This is what he's screaming. Okay, so there's that video, or that commentary on what was actually going down for that video. I think they actually even kind of say, like, yeah, you know, it's like, I was trying to get my phone or something like that, but I don't hear phone in that video at all.
Yeah.
So this right here is Trayson.
I just want to point out that he got into that fight with that. I'm going to just be Team Evan right quick, because he got in that fight with Evan because Evan didn't like him yelling at his girlfriend. He was stepping into the lady. Get it together, kid. Okay.
But like, Evan, mind your business, bro.
But I mean, he's standing up for, like, we don't like domestic abusers in training. Allegedly, maybe. Sheesh.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this is Wyatt. This is the boat. This is the boat that they were allegedly on. Is this boat down here? His brother Ike is also pretty volatile, if you believe this screenshot where he says, I see you reposted this. This is just to a friend of theirs. I see you reposted this, so I want to let you know what really happened. Can't be listening to all these black people saying his friends did something. He was with my brother that day on my boat, and he chose to stay. They know who the girl is. It happens at Horn all the time. These guys posting this shit on TikTok are all worthless blacks who want nothing but views. Nolan has basically lived at my house for the last 3 years. We would never do anything to harm him. The person receiving it says, never said anything about y'all or anything, just reposted, wasn't even worrying about the racial stuff. It's all BS. You don't think, like, I know y'all have been close since little kids. And then Ike says,
Oh, God.
So if that is to be believed that that is Ike, that would be Wyatt's brother on the boat that day.
Okay.
So this is how I'm trying to piece together who the hell's on the boats.
It's just a lot of fucking kids were all there.
Right. Okay,
That's
so
why
then there's
I'm-
Warren.
Go
We
ahead.
should probably, maybe I should pull that up. Let me see, because there's supposedly that interview that was being talked about in chat was Warren. What was it,
Oh.
Officer? Let's see. Let's see if the interview's is it out on YouTube? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so let's play this. Actually, I'll read through these and then I'll play this because it's Nolan's best friend and I believe it's Warren. Oh, I swear, or it's Wyatt. Who fucking knows?
We'll find out.
So Warren has a stepmom that is a judge. So anybody who's kind of been following along knows like there's this big thing about this judge that the judge has told all the kids to shut their mouths, lawyered them all up, and essentially said like nobody's talking to anybody. And then she goes and she deletes all of her social media. And then she feels bad about that because I guess somebody still contacts her and says, why'd you delete your shit? And so she goes on and she says, our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son, Warren, loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some of the rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is being diverted away from the Wells family and their loss. Yes, I deactivated my Facebook given the very high emotional state of social media right now. I fear for the safety of my child and my children. My husband and I have 6 children and we covet their privacy. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated throughout the internet, presenting potential threats to their safety. I graduated high school with Christine Wells. We are from the same community. I have the utmost respect for her and all of the Wells family. We mourn the loss of Nolan with them. Our prayers have been and will continue to be with them. My husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on the 4th of July. No one in our family is trying in any way to impede with the investigation by law enforcement or otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last at around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. I apologize if anyone was offended that I deleted my social media. There were no nefarious motivations in my deleting of my social media. Social media has a lot of positives, but a whole lot of negatives. We live in a world of clickbaiting, sad but true. My family is hopeful that this information will help to redirect the attention to the Wells family, their grief, and their need for our community support. So this is Warren's stepmom. Now his mom messages a creator, and then the creator puts those messages out, so you can take it for what you want. Are they from her? According to this creator, they are. It says, good evening, Mr. Roll Down. I think it's low down. I don't. It's such a weird thing, like Mr. Lowdown. I am Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I'm here to tell you.
She said, pull up.
I'm here to tell you that we all, Nolan, and are all deeply distraught. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our family. My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with him. Take that. My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with him.
Wait, and that's whose mom? That's Warren?
Warren's mom.
Okay.
So then saying like the picture on the boat is just them sitting at Horn Island and Warren didn't actually go out on the boat with him.
I mean, they're probably just on the boat taking a picture.
Right. So now we have this whole, everybody saying Warren's on the boat. Warren's mom's saying Warren's not on the boat. But yeah, make sense.
Yeah.
The boat that Nolan was supposed to get on was Wyatt's boat. He repeatedly asked Nolan to get on the boat at 5 when it was time to leave, but Nolan wanted to stay with a girl and their boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. My son loves him and would never in 1,000,000 years leave him. Warren does not even have a boat. Nolan has been at our house several times, and he is the sweetest friend. We all adore him. Again, Wyatt asked for him to get on. He said he wanted to stay, and Wyatt's boat started to fill with water. His boat ended up breaking down and was towed in. I don't know the girl that he wanted to stay with. I can just tell you, though, my son had nothing to do with it in any way, shape, or form. A matter of fact, he was the first person that noticed he was missing when they got back to their friend's house and called his mother. Here's why it was Warren. How we know it was Warren, according to his mom. Called his mother, the Coast Guard, and the sheriff's office. Warren is very responsible and always is keeping up with everyone else. He was not on the boat again. Please stop hurting us. My son is beside himself. I've never seen him like this before, and I ask you to please stop the blame. This is not the boy's fault. Nolan wanted to stay with this girl, and was insistent. I ask you to take my picture down off your wall and my son. I brought my other son out there, and I saw my son Warren briefly and took a picture that we were not out there with them longer than 10 minutes. I don't know how you're trying to link it all together, but I am just Warren's mom, and I love Nolan very much. He comes to my house several times, and I'm so sad. Please keep this down and look for this on prayers finding him. Also, I just want to let you know this whole day we have been looking for him. It has been devastating. I don't even know any of this was being said. So she's saying her son Warren went out there on a different boat and came back on a different boat. Nothing to do with Wyatt's boat or Nolan's boat. And that she and her younger kid also went out there at a different time and took a picture with Warren.
Yeah. And whose stepmom is the judge?
Warren's.
Also Warren's. Okay.
Yeah, this is all Warren's.
Interesting. The judge that came out with a whole statement about what happened was about the kid who wasn't even on the same boat?
Supposedly. Yes.
What the fuck?
And then she just says that her and her husband were not out there at all that day. Because Warren's mom was out there with the younger sibling.
Yeah. Oh boy, this is so convoluted.
Right, my head. I agree. Okay, so then actually before we go to Katie, I'm gonna play this. This is the one that just came out tonight while we were live.
Really? I haven't seen it.
No, nobody's seen it. I mean, unless you guys left me to go watch it, which is probably did happen to some people. So this is the Officer Tatum show, and I'll link it when I do all the sourcing afterward.
Some very pointed questions. I mean, just straight out. The first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan? All right, Warren, we had a chance to get to know each other over the last, 2 days. Went out to Horn Island. So I've had an opportunity to talk to you about a few things. And the things that you've told me have literally blown my mind. But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story, to hear Nolan's story through you, through his friend. And it's not just you.
This is Warren.
It's a bunch of y'all.
We just talked about his mom
some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's been threatened against their lives and all of the above. But you decided that you wanted to take this bold step and give a statement and, get your side out here. And I want to start at the very beginning of all of this and ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. We talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends. And Nolan was like a brother to me. And Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. There's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never got in an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
That's pretty much the consensus of everybody who's commented on Nolan, is that even his dad will say like everybody loved him and he loved everybody. So it makes it hard, like your own dad saying everybody loved him and he loved everybody. Like, how do you think that anybody actually hurt him and it wasn't an accident? You know what I mean? Because the kid isn't out getting in trouble or anything, you know?
A lot of shit can happen in a little amount of time.
Yep.
And you guys, you said you kind of grew up together. Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right. Well, Nolan a lot of the times was at like my house and at my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit. I mean, we hang out every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And I mean, we were never at Nolan's which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I met his father, and I mean, in 8th grade, that's when Nolan and I like got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. And Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat. And I mean, we were just super.
In fairness, my son's kids or friends don't always hang out here. Like, this isn't the hangout house for them. You know what I mean?
I will never be the hangout house.
I don't even act. I mean, I'm actually very surprised, but it's just how they are. Like, there's houses that they all go to. There's a huge group of like 10. Yeah, there's like 10 kids, and they all hang out at like 2 of the guys' houses, maybe 3. But like those are the hangout houses. They're not. That's just how it is. So, if I had to say, like, are those all my son's friends? I might not know every single one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
The ones that he's had since kindergarten or 8th grade or whatever that I've known like their whole lives, then I would. But obviously, he's met people that I don't know exactly who they are, you know, or I might not even recognize them.
Close, but his dad would swing by Waffle House, you know, and like, you know,
weird,
hang out around us, but never, you know, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, you know, anyone else. So.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that
were you on the boat?
I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
Was it something that you guys did more than just this year? It's a 2-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together? Did you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. You know, being from the Gulf Coast, there's boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day.
I don't care.
It's guaranteed. Everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, you know, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
that was weird.
He was, I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. Very, very common. That's what we like to do. My friends like to fish also, and like to go on the boat, not just fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on sunset cruises, like to do it all, you know, on the water, you know? And, I mean, Nolan loved to do that too. I mean, he was not like he was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water and, you know, have a good time with the guys. And, that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there.
Okay. So I really I have to put this out there, and I'm sorry. It's going to sound, and it's going to sound probably really bad, but this is the kid whose stepmom is the judge, who is allegedly told all the boys to shut up, lawyer up, like everybody be quiet, like take down your socials or lock them up or whatever, took down her own socials. And there's like this whole race thing going on about how, you know, there's these 3 white kids and this 1 black kid. Tell me right now that this interview is with a black man for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. That doesn't sound bad. That's just facts.
This is it's a total it's total play on the parents. Are like, no, you're gonna find somebody that is gonna make it so that you don't look like a fucking racist.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is strictly PR from here on out.
That's crazy.
Like I said, like Nolan was always
and we're just talking about
trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us, and he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us, and but started 4th of July. You know, my buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming. You know, everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal.
Very, very big deal. And I mean, I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house, and I
would put money. I'd bet my left breast on the fact that the family said, you can have this interview. We have final editing say.
Oh, I'm sure.
I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. Nolan was not with me. And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy, and we went, topped the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou boat launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day. And
you say we all, who are you talking about? You, Nolan, and how many people are going to meet you guys there?
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. You know, it wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean,
okay, so he's confirming that him and Wyatt are not on the same boat.
Okay.
Going out there. They are not. So now there is another boat. There is now Warren's boat. Warren's buddy's boat.
Can I just say real quick, Mav broke me because he just said the rest of this guy's videos are how to make paper machete plants.
No, they're not really. No, they're not. Are they? Please don't say that.
But I sure fucking looked.
They're not, though.
No.
Fucking Mav.
There were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left. And all got there at the same time. Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear, because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys, and y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean, Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, you know, throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, you know?
Wait. Was your mom on the water? Oh, yes. Warren's mom was on the water. She came out. Yes. She came out.
There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there. There were boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was 3 rows of boats all the way until my vision ended, until I could see of people from, I mean, there was 1 row of boats, and then there was another row of boats, and then there was a 3rd row of boats.
Yeah.
I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island to where, I mean, who knows? I mean, and that wasn't just, we were parked on the north side, on the west tip. It wasn't just there. I mean, there's tons of people packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, I mean, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit. I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat.
Yeah.
You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
Yeah.
What boat were you on, and what boat was Nolan on?
Ooh.
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton.
Wait. I thought Wyatt had the 18-footer.
22 Triton.
He said Wyatt had an 18-footer. He said he put a smaller boat out. Oh, maybe he has multiple boats. Okay, I guess I'll just listen. I'll shut up and listen.
Problems
On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to see exactly what.
I don't think there is an adult driving the boat. I think he's on the boat that Wyatt is driving, but I cannot tell you that for sure. This is all new. This whole buddy Bart is brand new to the story. Fucking Bart is about to get hammered on social media.
What the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there.
Of course.
But I want you to tell, the audience, like, what was this trip like? How was the waters? Did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you get to the island? Was there music? Is it like a big party? Like, what is that?
Oh, he's brand new.
I mean, obviously music's blasting.
Not all of them are in college. The majority of this group of guys is in college, but not everybody is, because there's some of these kids that are still only 17 and they just graduated high school in 2026. So, I mean, yeah, they'll be going to college this year, but not everybody in this immediate group graduated with Nolan. There's a couple that were juniors and sophomores when he graduated that we do know. Well, and then there's like the older folk, because we know that there's older people out there. The uncle is out there. I don't know if Ike is out there, but if Ike is out there, then because somebody's got to be driving the second boat of Wyatt's, because he's got a 22-footer and then he's got the 18-footer. Great question, Judge. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to try to piece this together. I don't know.
4th of July, man. I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, we had a lot of people loaded down. So obviously our biggest, we're just trying to make sure everybody, gets out there safe. And, so, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything all my buddies' boats couldn't handle, or like, it wasn't like we were getting really beat up or anything. I mean, it was pretty calm.
And so you guys get out there. I'm assuming that you line the boats up, because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out.
Bart drove Bart's dad's boat.
Do we know which footer that was?
I'd have to go back, but that's a different boat than the Triton 22-footer of Wyatt's and the 18 Palm Beach of Wyatt's.
By the way, I'll tell you right now why Nolan hung out over at their houses and not at his house, because his dad made a statement like, if he knew anybody that had a boat, he would have gone out and looked that night for his son, but he didn't know people like that, people that had boats. Clearly, his son had relationships with people that do have that kind of lifestyle on boats. So that's probably why Nolan's parents didn't know all these friends, because Nolan was, going and hanging out at their spots. Just a thought.
There, and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island with
Of
just
course not.
a few people. This is thousands of people out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of people doing what? What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up, and we pulled up at 10:30.
I'll have to re-listen to the boat thing and add it to the thing so I can have it straight. Because I was under the impression Warren was on the boat with Nolan.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, early afternoon. I mean, it wasn't. But 10:30 is still pretty early in the day. And when we got there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
you're talking when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles.
Yeah.
Of boat. When we went out there earlier, or not earlier today, but when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
I mean, it's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles. I mean, it's.
So you think that the boats were stretching from one end to the next, or a small area of about a mile or less than a mile of boats?
Well, I mean, I think there was boats all the way around the entire island, but I think some spots were more popular than others. Like the West Tip is usually very, very crowded on the 4th of July, and everybody knows that. So that's where a lot of people park because they want to be around other people. And the East End's a little more, there's not as many people, but there's still a lot of boats out there. I mean, it's not like no one, I mean, every area of Horn Island is covered 100%.
Wow. So you get out there, y'all jump out. What do? You know, when I say jump out, you obviously not just sitting on the boat. The island is there. Like, what exactly are people doing there? Like, are you spending more time in the water, on the island, in the boat? Like, how is that look out there?
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. Like, I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks and food that they need because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But when we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side. And there was about a drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water. But if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water. I mean, but when we got there, we tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. And then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around us. And then it just grew and grew as the day came on. And, I mean, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, I mean, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
Yeah. So y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students out on the island, women, you probably had alcohol. So y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. They are in a group. I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, everybody my age, and even people older than us were, over there. Like, I mean, it was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, every weekend. Like, I fish the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands. And
where the fuck was Nolan? What?
You can't answer
These are a lot of fucking
words.
words.
Fucking crazy right there. That is probably the worst thing that I've heard the entire time. That's this answer right here. Words. This is bad.
That's a lot of motherfucking words. Where was Nolan? I had 2 conversations with him. Cool. Where were you when you had those conversations? On what boat? At what time? We don't.
That's
what?
Nuts. No, I don't either, Miko. But that should have been a very simple answer. As I talked to him, throughout the day around our boat when he would come back in, or when we would run into each other as we're talking to different groups of friends.
He sounded like Bukaki on the fucking stand during Karen Reed trial 2.
I don't like that. That's probably the worst answer I've heard. He should just say, I don't know. I was out talking to these people. He went over there and was talking to those people. We'd run into each other throughout the day, but I saw Nolan all the time, so I wasn't focused on hanging out with him.
It was just a big, I talked to Nolan, and, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James. I could tell you. I mean, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean,
Why didn't you just answer that? That literally would have been the answer.
And how many times are you going to say, I just talked to Nolan a couple times?
But that's all I should have said. I only talked to Nolan a couple times throughout the day. We weren't hanging out together.
Literally. Okay, fine.
hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
yeah. And Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan's just like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan or picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan. And Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is. We're really jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We enjoy our time together. I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out, like even if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, all my buddies are the same exact way. Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. Like that's how he was. So.
And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
Yeah.
It's now 4:30.
Right.
People are still out there partying and they're having a good time, but something happened to where it necessitated you guys to get the boat up and running. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah, I already knew that was happening because it says part 1. So I'm going to go back because I want to hear this question again.
Bow and rear anchor set and thinking, I mean, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying. Then it just grew and grew as the day came on. And, I mean, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, I mean, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
Yeah. So y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students out on the island, women, you probably had alcohol. Y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well,
that's one question. Where's Nolan at compared to where you and the others are?
In comparison to where you are. That's very specific.
I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. They in a group. I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because
this is when things just start to go fucking haywire.
Yeah.
And he just goes like, that was very simple. It was just, not Nolan's babysitter. Yeah. I talked to him a couple times. We were just hanging out. Now things go crazy here because it doesn't go into who else I'm talking to. It literally goes into everything else. Listen to all the weird details he adds in here. Maybe it's just nerves or there's something else.
There's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, everybody my age and even people older than us were, over there. Like, I mean, it was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out.
Ask about your buddies.
Every weekend. Like I fish the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands. And I feel like it was just a big.
Okay, Trump.
Talked to Nolan, and Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody, and I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James, Nolan, and I mean, I could tell you, I mean, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean, there was hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
yeah. And
Hundreds of people I knew out there. An island or two.
A 2-minute answer. I just want you guys to be aware of that. That was a 2-minute answer. I'm going to play the question for you one more time, and then I'm going to move on to.
Groups out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there to see you guys out there. So y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day.
Now we have a 2-minute answer about fishing and how well he knows the island. I don't know. That was the only thing that immediately got me like in my chest. I was like, this is a weird answer, dude.
We know the islands. Who fucking cares? How did we get here? Can we go back to why you're even fucking being questioned right now? Where the fuck was Nolan when you had the conversations?
Right. Okay, so part 2, I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know if it says on here when it's coming out. I don't think he has it posted. It just says coming soon. So, you guys, I guess I'll share this so you guys can sub to it if you want to. This is Officer Tatum's channel with 3.8 million subscribers.
Oh my God.
I am not one of, as you can tell. I guess I will be now.
That's got to be botted. That's got to be botted.
I don't know. Who knows? Okay. So there's that one. Let's go back to. So this was feels like hours ago now. Then the bomb. Hey, TNT, what's up? The bombshell interview. I mean, it was interesting. I wish again. It's multiple parts.
Yeah, I wish I had part 2, part 3, maybe part 4.
Right.
It's gonna be 10
all right, so here's all the stuff on Warren's mom and stepmom. Okay, so now let's talk about Katie, because we haven't even fucking gotten to Katie, dude. We're 2.5 hours. There's so much shit, dude.
So much shit.
So much shit. This is like I don't even think I'm halfway through the fucking presentation we made.
There's so much shit.
Okay, so this is Katie. This is the Katie that he apparently wanted to stay behind with, and the big rumor is that the boat that last video, the second video that I showed you guys, where you can see like Nolan bending over, is supposedly on Katie's dad's boat, the Lil Daddy. So this is Gracie McCormick, which is her sister. I don't think it's. I heard somebody say that was her mom, but I'm almost 99% sure this is her sister. And it says Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. This gets clarified in another comment that I did not grab. I guess apparently I didn't grab, where she said that the brother and sister like drove out to get her, like basically picking her up from like the docks, like when she was inland, because many people thought here that the brother and sister-in-law went out on a boat and got her. So then Gracie comes back and clarifies it that they got out, they came out and drove her, like they picked her up at the docks. I don't know. That's just what I'm telling you. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Me and my family have talked, called, and are sending up prayers to bring Nolan home. We have given all the answers we can give to his mom and authorities. So.
Okay.
Now, this video is interesting, and I was telling Shaboogies about this before we started too. If you guys who have followed the case tell me the origin story of this, who is on this recorded call, who is recording the call, I cannot find. It's been shared so many times with so many different like things added to it. Like I literally just took the raw audio and just made a different video so it doesn't have all the other bullshit with it. So, but I don't know who the origin of it is. I don't know where it came from. I can't credit anybody for it because I don't even know who's talking and I don't know who's recording. So if you guys do, please feel free to tell me. Why does nothing ever want to work?
On White, we got out to the island around like 10:30. Everybody was hanging out, having a good time. And then it came time to leave. And so Wyatt was like, Nolan, get on the boat. Like, come on, we're leaving. And Nolan was talking to that girl, Katie McCormick. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back. I'm like, oh, TikTok only lets you send 1 minute videos.
Well, I know.
But he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back with Katie. We'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all. Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all at, like, I'm literally going to be right behind y'all, whatever. So, Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, he's just going to go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house and Wyatt was like, where's Nolan? He was like, isn't he coming with Katie and them? And they were like, yeah. And Warren was like, let me call him and ask where he is. Or Warren was like, I have his phone. Like, somebody call Katie and ask where he is. And then they called Katie.
They don't even notice.
And that's when they found out that that Nolan never went with her either. She said that Nolan never went with her. And so no one knows what happened. Like, literally no one knows what happened to him, and it's so fucking heartbreaking. And it's sick that people are sitting there blaming that on Eric and all them, like his childhood best friends. Like, it's sick. And none of them would ever do that to him. And like, people are literally texting me, like threatening me and shit. It's like, bro, I don't know, it's just so upsetting.
It's just so upsetting. Shut up.
All that coughing and stuff is from the video, not from us over here. Just an FYI, all that background noise. And she's the one that says we went to Ava's house.
We got out to the island around like 10:30. Everybody was hanging out, having a good time. And then it came time to leave. And so Wyatt was like, Nolan, get on the boat. Like, come on, we're leaving. And Nolan was talking to that girl, Katie McCormick. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back. I'm like, oh, TikTok only lets you send 1 minute videos.
Well, I know.
But he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back with Katie. We'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all. Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all at, like, I'm literally going to be right behind y'all, whatever. So, Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, he's just going to go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house.
We were all at Ava's house.
Rewind that a little bit again. Right there.
Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house. And
yeah, that's very clearly Ava, not Evan.
So who the fuck is Ava? Who the fuck is Ava?
Who the fuck is Ava? Put her on the boat with Bart.
What boat was she on?
Add her to the fucking list.
It's crazy. Okay,
God.
So there's that. Once again, like I said, I have no idea the origin of this. I do not. You can take it, you can leave it, you can do whatever the hell you want with that information. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who's talking. I don't know who's recording. I don't know who's coughing. And then there's a cat meowing and somebody like all that is in the video. That is not me.
At the end, the like fourth party in the background. Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. Who are these fucking people, right? Who are these fucking people? So anyway, so there's that. Okay, so now we're at Javon, who's also not on the boat, but becomes a very big key person in all of this. One, because he does all kinds of interviews, but two, his mom is friends. So his mom is here. You're going to hear from her. His mom is friends with Christine, Nolan's mom, and they start to track Nolan's phone, trying to get his phone back because they know that it's on the mainland, so they're trying to figure out where the hell it is. You can send me whatever you want, TNT. And so she calls her friend because her boys, which is Javon and Jalen, were also out at Horn Island that day. So to find out what they know. So one of them, mom, is tracking the phone through Life 360, and the boys are tracking the phone through Snapchat. Now, get this. The phone is showing it's at 2 different locations. Life 360 has a location, and Snapchat has a different location. They have some lame-ass answer for why they think that happens, but it's not true. So I don't understand that either. What's up?
What do you know?
What?
Go ahead.
Well, because I have Life 360 and Snapchat.
I was going to ask, so like, as far as I know about Life, because I don't have it, Life 360, as far as I know, it tells you where someone's been throughout the day. So like, it wouldn't make
where
sense.
They are right now, too.
Right. So it wouldn't make sense to me to have a past location versus the Snapchat having the more updated.
No, the Life 360 shows where they're at right now. I'd show you mine, but it would give you
right.
address.
So that doesn't make sense to me that the Life 360 would stop.
That's a great point. And so they try to say, well, like one updates when it's opened and the other one doesn't. And it's like, no, that's not true. That's not accurate information. So they're just wrong. I don't think they're giving that information on purpose. So Javon is apparently, according to his mom, Christine, is Nolan Wells' best friend. So Javon makes a comment on a TikTok video, and he says, the people Nolan was with had 2 boats tied up. I'm not sure which boat he rode out on. They were both filled up, apparently, which is why I went out on a completely different group of people. My people's boat was further down on the island. When I last seen Nolan, when I said around 3:40 or 4, I can't give you an exact time because I didn't have my phone. Teenager doesn't have his phone. That's not a big deal though, because they'll argue that all teenagers should have their phone. Because I didn't have my phone, there was still a big group of people out there. One of my friends got into an altercation, and I went to check on him for about 15 to 20 minutes. When I came back, the people Nolan were with was gone. I didn't see Nolan then. When they were gone, I don't know where he could have been. I don't know, so I head out to the people I came with. Yes, I received my phone later on, if you wonder. Oh, how didn't you see Nolan when you got your phone? Again, they had 2 boats out there with the people he was with. I thought nothing of it. I didn't see him. I figured he would have just been on their other boat. So please stop trying to make it seem like I was the last to see, because it sucks if I was the last to see him. I promise to God Nolan would be here with us today. So according to the timeline, he is the last to see him, if you believe that eyewitnesses can recount times. Drunk eyewitnesses can recount times.
You're afraid of the possible 4:30, 5 p.m. sighting?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the first interview.
Ms. Christine, how are you and your family holding up?
A lot of praying.
You guys hear it okay?
A lot of just leaning on each other in this moment and just taking it day by day.
Oh, yeah,
That's
sure.
really all we can do right now. It's been hard. Every day is different. And really every second is different, which is something people need to understand. Grief is not one emotion, right? It's multiple emotions, and they're all happening at the same time. And so it's just like 1 minute I can be I can be okay like this, and I can talk about it. And then the next minute I'm breaking down in tears because it's a constant reminder. Because if I'm being honest, we really just have not had time to fully grieve with everything that's going on.
this is your baby, and everyone must understand that. And just day by day, have you been hearing anything from investigators?
No, the last time I spoke with an investigator, it was Major Smith, and I had reached out to him via text message. That was last Tuesday. Other than that, I have not spoken with anyone.
That is
And no one
agonizing.
has reached out.
That is shocking, first of all, but also agonizing to think that has been that much time having passed. I mean, Javon, I want to come to you because, I mean, you're his friend. You were on the island on the 4th. You were on a different boat. Do you recall seeing him at all that day?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying of how he was separated from the group?
No, ma'am. I don't think that Nolan would say, hey, bro, I'm staying with this girl on the island. Y'all go ahead and go back without even bringing it, like not even asking to get his phone back. You know what I mean? I don't think that any of that.
What makes you so sure about that? Because I mean, obviously you've been with him, you've spent a lot of time with him. Did you know him to be someone to leave his phone or even say, you guys go without me?
Never. I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. That's always how he's been every single time.
You know, this friend of his, Trayston, also told ABC that video people have been talking about that was said to show some sort of altercation, it did not involve Nolan. He says it was actually him yelling in the video and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am. We were calming Trayston down. In that video where he said, give me my effing phone back, it sounds like him. So I'm pretty sure that he was right on that, but.
Weird, because I don't hear "give me my effing phone back" in that video at all. Oh, shit! What the hell?
I would like to know what boat Evan was on.
Yeah, who was Evan with?
Miss Christine, how are you and your family?
He's always been a guy where if you rode with you, he's going to come
Pause
back.
real quick.
That's always how he's been every single time.
You know, this friend of his.
One thing I find interesting is there seems to be two different group of friends that are both groups of friends with Nolan who don't necessarily like the other group.
True.
And there's a fight going on between one of Nolan's friends and one of Nolan's other friends. So I just think that's a very interesting dynamic to be going on at the same time here.
Right. I don't know Evan's last name yet. I just know Evan.
Trayston also told ABC that video.
Yes, ma'am. We were calming Trayston down. In that video where he said, give me my effing phone back, it sounds like him. So I'm pretty sure that he was right on that, but.
Javon, I'm so sorry to think about what you must be going through and thinking about what's happened to Nolan. I mean, you mentioned a phone. Tashima, a huge question so many people have is why he would have left his cell phone behind. And you say you were the person who actually went and retrieved that phone for the family. How'd you get your hands on the phone? Where was it?
That is correct. Christine called me and told me, hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys? I said, well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown, which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well. She said, well, Nolan hasn't been. So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island. And he was like, what? Are y'all serious? He was like, yes. And so Christine intervened in the conversation and said, Nolan has not been heard from since he left the island. So Javon was like, well, that's when I seen it. I haven't seen it since then. You know, again, everybody goes their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him.
Obviously.
Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, he didn't answer the phone. I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Broomfield. He answered. He said, Jalen is in the gas station. Hold on. So he said, hey, Jalen, Mom on the phone. So he was like, Jalen, like, what's up, Mom? What's going on? I was like, hey, have y'all heard from Nolan? They said, no, we have not heard from Nolan.
But where was the phone?
So I was like, well, okay. So that's when we started checking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like it was, I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one or two people there, but it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to. We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did
We
they
went in,
immediately give
knocked
you
on
the
door.
phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone. Because I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone? Or like, where's the phone? Because it took so long when they said it was in, when Wyatt told me it was in his truck, it took him so long to get the phone back to me.
Christine,
So when they brought the phone back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear that.
When they brought the phone, after I said something about it, he was like, well, she's going to get it. I was like, who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone.
Okay, so Militia says, doesn't Snap only update if the app is opened, though? So that's what they're saying. From having my teenagers, they track all kinds of people. They don't have Snapchat open, including me. My daughter is like a stalker, I swear. She knows everywhere I am at all times. And doesn't have to be open. So I don't know. I'm not an avid Snapchatter, so
I'm trying to figure out in my head why Life 360 would stop reporting a location before Snapchat.
Well, and then they're saying that the boy. So if you're gonna go, even if you go with that, Snapchat is what updates when it's opened. The boys are checking his Snapchat. They go to the location that Snapchat shows.
Yeah.
So that would be more. That would technically be more up to date than the Life 360, which would mean somebody opened the Snapchat. But they're saying here the problem with the phone is, and this comes out a little bit later, and I'll just talk about it now instead because I don't know how much longer we're going to be on. But they say later that like his mom opens when she gets the phone, they go to his Snapchat and there's nothing there. There's nothing there from that day. So like they think that like in this 15-minute window that these guys went in there and like deleted Snapchat content.
Or someone did with the phone at some point.
So then I don't know. I mean, it's odd.
I don't know that because the Life 360 thing is really tripping me up because from everything the mom keeps saying, she says that Life 360 showed him on land versus the Snapchat showed him at somebody's house. So that is she talking about like on land on the island?
No, mainland.
Mainland.
That's how I took it anyway.
Just general mainland somewhere?
Yeah,
I don't know,
I think it's on the mainland, like back towards like the docks.
It's just weird.
Morgan Seymour. This is a great question, CNT. This is a person rumored to have been on the boat with Nolan. Going out there. Rumored to have been on the boat going out there. He doesn't know that he has the location out on his phone, but his mom has it on him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Always do that.
This is the coach. If you guys want to listen to
Close
this.
with Nolan because he coached him
like
in high school football. Tracy Lampley, welcome to Team Z Live.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. Appreciate you being here.
So Tracy, my understanding is you were close to the family and you actually, helped in the search for Nolan before his body was found. Can you give us a sense of what his parents think happened here? Do they believe this was just an unfortunate accident, tragedy, or that it's something more sinister?
Well, just to correct you a little bit, I didn't actually help for the search, but I was in Ocean Springs when it happened, and I was still in disbelief when I got the news that Nolan was missing. So when I got all the details surrounding the case, that they told me he was out at Horn Island, and he came up missing or whatnot. I talked with his dad, and we just had conversation that was kind of after the fact when they had found his body, because I was just giving the family their respect that they deserve, and when everything first took place. But I was sharing all the detail that the family was sharing, just putting the word out there, and just so everybody could be on notice and everybody be paying attention to what the parents was asking of the community. But I gave the family their space. But then when they found their body, I pulled up to the house and just paid my respect. And me and the dad had conversations, and we talked, and man, it's just devastating.
When you say you talked to the dad, did he kind of accept this as an accident and a tragedy, or was he more suspicious?
Well, no, he was more so just searching for answers right now, because it had just happened, and there was a lot of questions still unanswered. You know what I mean? And like the family just want to answer, want to know what happened, and what was going on, because the questions that they've been asking have not, truly been answered. And so we all now just sitting back and waiting on the autopsy to come back, and waiting on the family to give more details about, what they have received moving forward.
Tracy, can you tell us, just talk to us about Nolan? Obviously, he's a high school football star, and usually high school football stars have a pretty close relationship with their coaches. What can you tell us about just Nolan as a human being, and what you saw from him and how he interacted with other people in school, with his friends?
Yes, Nolan was a great young man, with a big personality. Everybody gravitated to Nolan because of his smile. He just wanted everybody to be happy, and he was a joy to coach, a joy to be around. To sum Nolan up, long story short, Nolan is a guy that I would let date my daughter. That's the kind of character he had, and that's the kind of person that his family raised.
So, getting to the last time he was seen on the island, I think just your point of view on his personality is interesting. I mean, there were rumblings that he may have gotten into an argument, that there might have been a confrontation or something like that. I mean, was he a guy who would stand up, where, his hackles would go up, or was he more of a get along type guy?
He more of a get along type guy. Don't get me wrong. Now, if something happened, he'll defend himself. But I knew right then in that video that wasn't Nolan. But out of respect, the person that I knew who it was, I waited until he spoke about it. And then, I told people, oh, yes, that's who that was in the video, was another person, another kid that I, taught at Ocean Springs. And I knew exactly that wasn't Nolan during that time.
So, there's been some talk about, one of the theories is that that he was drinking, and that there was a riptide that day, and that maybe he got caught in a bad current out there. Knowing him as an athlete, and we've heard that he did know how to swim, would that surprise you if he ended up in that situation, just from what you know about him as an athlete?
Yes, I mean, it would surprise me, that happened, but like I said, man, I'm just waiting till the family, give out, details of what they done gathered, since, his body been recovered. I don't want to, put no information out there and speculate and add more fuel to the fire. So I'm just really sitting back, waiting on the family to give, the public,
I didn't play Dave on TNT.
more facts about the case, because as sensitive as the case is, I don't want to start no rumors or have nobody saying that coach said this, and that ain't true. So now I'm just sitting back, waiting on the family to give the public, details about it, and I think in due time that information will come out.
And finally, look, there's a reality to life these days. Was there racial tension at the school? I mean, you were certainly able to observe, and it's something people are talking about, whether it's a factor at all or not. Was there racial tension at the school?
No, I don't think it was no racial intention at the school. From my experience, because you have predominant white school, you have black kids there, and they all played and grew up together and got along. Now some stuff might have happened that I didn't see, so I can't speak wholeheartedly on it. But from what I did see, it was a tight knit community. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tracy, we really appreciate you sharing what you know about Nolan.
I did not play you guys Javon's TMZ interview. So this interview has apparently been taken down by TMZ. And the rumor is that Javon's mom said, hey, he's 17. You guys can't have this interview up of him without my permission. And I did not give him permission to do this. So I actually grabbed it from a channel. And so I'm just going to skip through.
And they say at this point, they have not.
Skip through it. So this is Black Gotti. He's got like almost 500,000 subscribers. He's actually been covering this case a lot. So I'm going to play his version of it and just skip over his commentary, because this interview's essentially been wiped, besides people who streamed it and played it. If you guys can find it some other way, let me know.
Seen any evidence of a crime, but as you've heard, no doubt, from the parents, they give us a sense of that.
Yeah, so Nolan hung out with them a lot. I wasn't ever hanging out with them because, they're older and they were like hanging out when they come back from like college and stuff like that. So Nolan was with them a lot. I was never like with them. I knew them, but I was never hanging out with them. I know one of the boys he was with was a pretty good dude. But other than that, I don't really know like as every time they hang out how it goes. Like I don't really know that because I never met them personally.
Javon, were they teammates of his? Did they play football also? Were they? I know they're a year ahead of you, but were they all teammates, or was Nolan the only one who played football?
Nolan was the only one that played football.
Okay. So did Nolan ever talk about them? Did he ever describe his relationship with them? Did he, talk about how much fun they had, whether they got in arguments? Did he ever talk to you about them?
Never. He just told me like how they had like good times. They'll go like he'll just let me know they're going out somewhere. They're gonna just hang out. He never really said anything bad about like them.
Okay. Take us to that day on July 4th. So roughly how many kids are out there for this party, and describe your interaction with Nolan that day on the island.
Okay, yeah. So it probably was around, I want to say around like 100 people. Like everyone from Horn Island, everyone at Horn Island like that live on the coast were there pretty much. Obviously, it was older people. There's a lot of people there, like honestly. But I seen Nolan whenever I got out there out there around 11 o'clock. I had walked down to their boat. I had seen him, and it was like a whole bunch of people. I didn't expect it. So I seen Nolan. As soon as I seen Nolan, he's like, hey, bro, what you doing? Like, I love you, dog. I love you. And then we were just hanging out, chilling, just having a good time. And then so I want to say around 3:40, 4 o'clock, altercation had happened between one of my other friends. I don't want to say his name, but he had got an altercation. So I went and checked on him for about 20 to 15 minutes. I came back, Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone. But the thing about the two boats that I said, there were two boats tied up. So therefore, I didn't know which boat Nolan exactly was on because they were both tied up.
Javon, have you seen the video that's been going around social media where people think that they're hearing an argument between people and they're wondering whether or not Nolan is one of the people in that argument? You just described that you had another friend, not Nolan, another friend who was in and got into a dispute. Is that video the other argument that you were talking about?
Yes.
So, but is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in the altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it. So
describe that. That's kind of interesting. What was that about?
Bro, you know why the situation like really sucks and it's really bad because
like they were just trying to, like, the parents on that boat were trying to get him out.
The parents on the boat were trying to. Got it.
Yeah,
But
but
there were a lot of adults out there as well as young people.
Yeah.
When you say the parents were trying to,
Trayston was losing it because he got an altercation, which we believe was with Evan, over a conversation he was having with his
girlfriend.
Trayston and his girlfriend were having an argument. We believe Evan, at least we know it's somebody else in the same age range, comes up and says, hey, like, this isn't cool or whatever. Trayston and this guy get into a physical altercation. The parents get Trayston on the boat, and then Trayston's friends start taking over this fight. And so Trayston wants back off the boat, and he's like, let me fucking go, essentially. Like, let me go. I want off this boat. Like, I need to get to whomever. Like, I think he says, let me at least get my fucking girl. That's what I think he says, but I don't know.
get him out on a boat. You had mentioned 2 boats. Are those 2 boats different boats?
Different boats.
They're different boats. They were on down. They weren't exactly by Nolan and whoever's boat he was on. They were on down.
You're talking to a bunch of people, I'm sure, who knew Nolan and maybe who were on the island. What's the buzz? What are people saying with you and your friends?
I mean, obviously, it's hard. Like, I post my friend Nolan just to have, like, show everyone that, like, how good of a person he was and try to, like, bring closure to, like, whatever the hell happened. Like, this hurts. Like I've never lost someone this close to me. And, like, for people to, like, to say that I was the last to see him and keep twisting my words and say that how did, like, and his closest friend would have knew his password. Like, so they're trying to say that, like, paint me a picture to been, like, the reason this is happening. I promise you guys, if I was the last person to see Nolan and I seen him by himself, he would have been home with us today. He would be with us today. I would still be able to talk to my friend every single freaking day. And so it really it hurts me so much, like, hearing people say these things. But at the same time, people are just going off what they hear. So it's hard, honestly.
You're saying that when you posted about Nolan, a lot of the comments you're getting are people berating you, saying that you should know more about what happened to him?
Yeah. When I feel like that shouldn't be the case, because I also had a completely different ride out there. He had his own people. I mean, he hangs out with these guys like almost all the time. So I'm thinking he's fine. I'm not thinking nothing of it.
And you never heard of Nolan having any kind of an argument with these guys before? You never heard anything like that?
No, sir.
What are people saying? I mean, these guys,
actually,
some of them have gotten lawyers.
Well, I'm curious if the police have, I know they said they're still investigating. Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
That's odd.
I don't see why the cops I don't see.
Okay, so he's the only one so far out of all the friends and family that are doing media interviews that says the cops have not talked to him. Katie, her family stating that they've cooperated with law enforcement. Trayston said that he's talked to law enforcement. Lucas said he talked to law enforcement. I mean, Warren on that interview says he talked to law enforcement. Like, why? Like, Javon's like the only one law enforcement hasn't talked to? That's a little odd.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why.
Well, the cops will have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunheard, it was whenever, the body was discovered and the autopsy people and all those people were there.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm surprised. Because you knew Nolan well, and you knew that he was friends with these guys who were the last ones to be around him before his body was found. And I would think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things we're asking.
Right.
Did you ever hear of any of this stuff? It's odd to me.
Just to gather information.
Yeah, that the cops wouldn't have contacted you. Yeah.
It's not odd. Y'all playing it real smooth, man.
That's my boy, and I want him to find justice. Like that, like this whole case thing, like whatever, like this whole situation, and none of this adds up to me. So like it's really hard, like for like people to just like keep on saying things.
Hold up, that's deep. Nothing adding up to somebody who was round just makes the situation 10 times worse.
Things when like none of it adds up, honestly.
So one of the things that I'm sure, Javon, you've seen has been a big part of this story, people making the point that, at least in the photos that we initially saw, that Nolan was the only African-American kid who was out there, at least on that boat. Do you think, having been there on the island with this large group of people, that race plays a factor in whatever happened here?
I don't want to answer that. I don't want to answer that question. I wouldn't say like, yeah, I wouldn't want to answer that question. I mean, obviously we go to Ocean Springs, we're going to have white friends. So like, that's, I mean, I guess it's pretty normal down here, but.
Yeah, I mean, and I hear you. If that's, I guess you're saying that it's normal. It's not out of place to be a black teen in that area and that you have white friends, right? That's not uncommon is what you're saying.
I'm sure every black person has white friends somewhere, you know? So I wouldn't say that it's a whole race thing, but it's just like, obviously they're going to paint it as that because none of this adds up. So.
Got it. Okay.
All right, Javon.
Thank you so much.
Very sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Man. Hang in there. I know this is going to be tough.
Thank you.
I am.
Okay. So like I said, that one's been pretty much wiped from anything TMZ related because I think the rumor is that his mom got upset that there was an interview that she didn't okay. So the only way I could find it was on somebody else's channel. All right, let's see what I know that we've been on here for a really long time. So
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out like what else. That was the coach. This is Ben Crump. I don't know if you guys want to listen to him.
I don't mind him. I just.
While the authorities are doing that, Ben Crump is running his own investigation and trying to get answers for the family, and he is joining us right now. Ben, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Hey, thank you, Charles, for having me. Harvey, thank you as always.
Of course. There's a lot to talk about here, but let's start with cause of death. I know that you may not have a formal autopsy, but you have been looking at it, and it seems to me that is the starting point. Do you have any sense of how he died?
We don't want to speculate, Harvey, so we're going to investigate every aspect of why Nolan Wells is not with us today. We know that he was with his friends. They went out on Horn Island, as Charles said. He was the only black teenager that was there. And, you know, all of them came back safely on the boat with his cell phone, Harvey. But Nolan's body was found washed up on the shore on Monday morning. And so his family is not accepting that it was an accidental drowning. They haven't been told anything, but that's been the suggestion. And they're not accepting that because Nolan was a college football player. He was a superior athlete. He was in great fitness and condition. And so for them to try to say, well, we got his phone, but we don't know where he's at, and then he turns up dead, they are not accepting it. And there's so many questions, so many contradictions.
So, Ben, there is you mentioned that the friends who came back, they returned Nolan's phone and some of his clothing to his parents, and their claim was that he said he was going to stay behind. I know there is one friend, a young woman, who has come forward and has spoken to the police, and I'm wondering if she's spoken to you and how her version of events differ from what the other friends have said.
She hasn't spoken to us, but we know her statement that she released publicly. She said that she was talking to Nolan, and then Nolan said, well, I'm going back to the boat with the guys I came with. That's her version. She said that he did not leave with her, that he went back and got in the boat with the other boys. Well, the boys say that when they was talking to Nolan, he said he wasn't going to get in the boat with them, that he was going to stay with her, stay behind with her. So it's a contradiction. Their statements contradict one another, and that is something that's very troubling. On top of the fact that we know there are videos circulating where there's an argument where you hear Nolan arguing with somebody, and we're trying.
Propaganda. That's pure propaganda.
I will say, I was gonna say, this gentleman is not unlike myself. Speak first and like consider later. He is full of hyperbole and will, has no shame in like sharing like rumors versus like fact, and that's just kind of like who he is. Just to take that in consideration.
True. All right, we're gonna skip past him. I'll play. So the parents have done a few press conferences. I'm just gonna play their interview, the main interview on Good Morning America. I think that kind of covers a lot of what's in the press conferences anyway, to kind of cut down on a little bit of time here.
Yeah.
But essentially, what Ben Crump is letting the public know, that's the only factual thing that I can even think of at this point in time, is that law enforcement obviously did an autopsy on Nolan Wells, and Colin, whatever his name is, I never want to say his
Colin
Kaepernick, Mr. Neal guy, paid for an independent autopsy. So Nolan's body was taken up to like Washington, D.C., and that was that autopsy has been completed. We have not heard anything. There's a lot of rumors and people putting out stuff about the actual autopsy, which I think is all bullshit, just for hypes and views. Oh yeah, it was Kaepernick. Yeah, he paid for it. And they're saying like they know the results of the actual autopsy. Well, we all know from just doing true crime that toxicology is going to take 4 to 6 weeks to come back to see how intoxicated Nolan was. Whether they think he drowned or didn't drown, they're gonna still want to know what substances he had and everything else. So the second autopsy done, the independent autopsy done in Washington, D.C., has been concluded. Obviously, yesterday, Nolan Wells was laid to rest. They had a huge memorial service for him. Now Ben Crump is saying that tomorrow he's going to do a press conference with the family to release the information from the second autopsy.
The preliminary results.
The
normal results you would get from police about 24 hours after they get the body. Like Gabby Petito and all those other people, it's pretty normal to give preliminary, even as vague as it might be. So I think it was fair of people to question, well, why can't you just say whether you found evidence of drowning or not, just to play devil's advocate?
So, well, we're going to get preliminary from the second autopsy, but he has made it very clear that they did not get the body for 6 days after it was found. So who knows how that's going to play into that narrative. So just beware of that tomorrow when that does come out. But I definitely want to play something with his parents before we wrap up, because obviously we all can feel, no matter what the outcome is, we all know that they're in a fucking mess emotionally at this point.
Right.
I couldn't even imagine it. And they get threats. They get stuff mailed to their home. They have people like sending them just crazy shit. And I'm like, dude, like if you don't want to listen to what they have to say, just fucking turn it off. Like nobody needs to send them shit. And if you don't agree with them, just don't fucking agree with them. It's it's pretty simple. I could say like I don't necessarily agree with having a Ben Crump and an Al Sharpton and Colin Kaepernick and Tyler Perry. But I think, like I said at the very beginning of this live, as a mom, and you don't know what happened, you're almost like, I don't even fucking care. Like I'll take whatever help somebody wants to give me at this point, because I think Ben Crump is, I don't think he's just a mouthpiece.
But they're effective.
No, I disagree. I disagree about effective, but that's totally an opinion thing because I just think he just reminds me of Quan LX, like this whole turning it into something that it's not just to get the attention. But I know your point, and I'm going to let you say your point because I don't disagree with your point either. That's my only thing is that allowing some of these people to take over and speak at, like, you have Ben Crump speaking at the memorial service yesterday, and I was going to play that for you guys, but like I said, we've been on here a long time. Having Al Sharpton speak at your son's memorial service. What do we they don't know this kid. What are we doing?
Right.
I absolutely will disagree with that, but I'm also of the opinion, like I said, they want answers, and they're just like, I don't even give a shit how I get them. Just somebody fucking get them for me because I can't survive if I don't have something to hold on to. You know?
Yes, I agree with that.
I have no ill will towards them for doing it. I just think that. Go ahead and speak your point about what I know. I was going to let you say your side of that because I know you have a totally different thought process.
Well, we don't necessarily disagree. I would just say it's true. Like, if it's their child, they want all the help they can get. So Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, all these people want to jump in and help. I mean, duh. Also, the fact that, it's giving their son national attention. And while it does have negative effects, I think just because Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are who they are and can be very agitating in general, that's never a good look. And I think that definitely has caused some of the uproar and the social media back and forth and why is this about this when it doesn't need to be about that. What it should be and should have been from day one is that Jackson County, Mississippi has a corrupt history in their law enforcement. What it should be about is that a young Black gentleman only a year prior in Cleveland, Mississippi, was found hanging from a tree on a college campus, and that was just ruled suicide and everyone moved on. The fact that that happened probably more than once that year, the fact that there's a list of other Black people found hanging or other questionable suicides in Mississippi alone in modern history that just gets swept under the rug, that's very fucking real for them and this family and Black Americans everywhere, but especially in Mississippi, that I believe had the highest lynching numbers in history. So that being said, if anyone deserves thorough transparency and fucking valid attention on this case and their son, just to make sure that the investigation itself is on the up and up, then that's the least they fucking deserve. Not just them, but the Black community in general.
That's fair. So at the memorial service yesterday, which Tyler Perry paid for, Al Sharpton offered a $50,000 reward. And I don't want to misquote it because I don't remember if it was on information that leads to conviction or if it was just on anything that helps answer what happened to Nolan. I don't remember exactly how he said it, so I don't want to misquote it. But he put up $50,000, and then Tyler Perry matched that, and so now there's a $100,000 reward.
Which, by the way, I'll be side-eyeing if the preliminary autopsy results come out tomorrow and there's clear evidence of accidental drowning or whatever, and they're still pushing like there's a big investigation to be had, I wouldn't like that, to be fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. It leads to conviction, Nancy. See, that's tough. That's tough because if this is an accidental drowning, then it is like there is no reward. So
with more on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. We're joined by his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, as well as their attorney, Ben Crump. And before we get started, first off, I want to thank you for being here under these circumstances. You know how extremely tough it must be, and we can express our how sorry we are for you and your family. And first question, how are you two holding up?
Taking it second by second.
Day by day. Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. Like,
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. So I was out telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from the group. Because I always said safety is in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group.
Yeah.
And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
so that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then too, really didn't worry a lot about it because it was his last weekend to have fun.
Yeah.
Because that Monday he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, we're gonna see. He wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because, like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about football, not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, you have to understand and have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you said you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Toshima and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her 2 sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it and my friend Toshima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone, they tracked it. And that highlights all these contradictions.
So for clarity purposes, just so you know, this phone was never turned over to police. They have kept the phone to have it independently examined in what they have stated as an agreement with police that they're going to do it together with this independent person that they have. So the phone has not ever been turned over to police to have a digital download done.
They're currently doing it together.
Right. So they tracked it to the house that it was at. And they also found the keys. His car was parked at the friend's house and at Jax's house, and the keys were in the house. That's a whole nother side story, but to me, that's not even nearly as big as the cell phone, simply because why would he take his keys to his car if his car is sitting there? I would have left my keys too. So they don't understand why the keys were so hard to find. in the house, but apparently Jax didn't know or wasn't sure where the keys were. They ended up calling a girl who knew where the keys had been. We don't know who that girl is, though. Another girl, just a girl.
Ava?
I don't know. Ava? Yeah, who knows? Well, Rochelle, this is something that's kind of been up for debate because it's saying that the phone was on the boat. The phone, we've also heard reports that the phone was in Wyatt's truck with, but at the house. And then we've also heard that it was in the house. So I cannot tell you the exact location of the phone. It was just at a house that it was tracked to via Snapchat by Javon and Jalen. So, because I've heard reports that it was on the boat, I've heard reports it was in Wyatt's truck, and I've heard reports that it was in the house. So I cannot answer that.
Michael, the fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then.
See, that right there just makes me go, this guy is just so not credible. That's not what's happening at all. Tashima said it was in Wyatt's truck and a girl went to get it. And it took him 15 minutes. And she was like, did you walk back to Horn Island to get it?
His phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm going to stay behind and I'm going to leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yeah, so there's so many questions.
Do I know for sure? No. Do we know for sure that he had his phone on the island or the boat? We have been told that the phone went to the island on the boat and stayed on the boat and then went back to the mainland where it was later possibly in Wyatt's truck.
We don't even know the preliminary autopsy results. That's why I don't like anyone jumping to he was killed or not killed, period, on either side.
That need to be answered. And is there anything you'd like people to know about Nolan? What would you like them to know about your son?
No,
It's okay.
Nolan. Take your time. Nolan was very loving. He was liked by all. It was not a friend he couldn't make.
No, we'll be right back with more for the parents of Nolan Wells and attorney Ben Crump. We're back now on GMA with the parents of Nolan Wells, Christina and Elmore Wansley. And I want you to please continue to tell us what you want the world to know about your son.
So Nolan was just like this bright light, right? Walk into a room, his smile, his energy was just so infectious. Like it's almost like he drew you into him. And he was just one of those people, like he always wanted everyone to be included. He didn't want anyone to feel left out. I remember one of his teachers emailing us. I can't remember what grade he was in, but basically it was math class. They had a special needs student and she asked a question and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so student answers the question and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child. Making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like he loved everyone. And I always told Nolan, like, you have to be careful when you have such a big heart like that. I love that God blessed you with that, but you have to be careful with that because that it's not always returned, that type of love. But he was just genuinely a good person. Like I always say, all the best parts of me are with him.
And Dad, anything? else you want to add?
It's just, he's going to be really missed. I know a lot of his teammates, they all look to him as a leader. He's more like a silent leader. Not real big on words, more action, which is kind of like I was. I really wasn't real big on talking. I really wanted to show you and you follow me, and people followed him. And it's gravitated. He put in the work, he worked hard, and he knew he was focused on what he wanted. And he wanted to make life better for, his family. He wanted to have his own family. He used to say, Dad, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to build this. I said, well, son, you got to take it one step at a time. Slow down, let's go, let's walk this thing out. Let's train, let's sign our deals, let's make these teams, make these camps, put the work in, and everything else will work out. Even his baby brother, their bond got even stronger because now I have a big brother that he's finna do something. So now I want to outdo that. So his focus and his confidence has got even better. So I was looking forward to both of them having outstanding years.
Seasons,
It seemed like he inspired in the home and he inspired
Absolutely.
outside of the home. And Attorney Crump, where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, the deleted messages that Christina was going to
So-
briefly touch on, we want to
Yeah.
get
so
the phone
to
and figure that out.
Backtrack on that. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps, like when he goes and he's having fun, like he does videos. Like, there was absolutely nothing, no saved videos. And even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious,
Michael, we having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to DC because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, we're suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it's not adding up, Michael Strahan. It is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened, what did happen. So we just want honesty and transparency. We want a thorough investigation. We want that same respect that would be given to anybody else. And that's it. We just want answers.
Well, we really appreciate.
That's why, like, for them, like, I have no ill will whatsoever about what's happening. But I do fear, like, there are the Ben Crumps of the world that make things worse. But I think it was woman in chat like said it, and I think you agreed with her, Shaboogies. People like Ben Crump make noise. And I think I just kind of talked about that the other day with like a JLR and a Turtle Boy. And it's like, you don't necessarily like the person, but you appreciate the awareness that they put on certain things. So I don't know.
I think that they just deserve to get a thorough investigation. I think anyone trying to make excuses for why that shouldn't happen, maybe think about it.
Right. So this is the last thing I'm going to play for you guys tonight. Unless there's anything you want to add, Shaboogies, before, like anything that we didn't cover. So these are the press conferences. Like I said, I was going to show you guys those. There's just so much.
So no, we'll come back and do another one once we get further in the investigation, or if we find out tomorrow accidental drowning, and then everyone can actually move on.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess. I mean, but still, I mean, if it's the preliminary results, autopsy results from the second autopsy, are people going to believe it or say that it's too hard to tell because they didn't get the body for 6 days after it was found?
It'll be pending toxicology. That's when everyone will shut up in 5 weeks, pretty much, hopefully.
So this is yesterday. I was telling you guys they had the memorial service for Nolan Wells, and then afterward they did a press conference. So I'm gonna play that for you guys. My goal is that I can come back tomorrow and play you guys the press conference with the results, and we'll see how that goes. If not, maybe I can at least just put up a video or something if I don't have the capacity to do an actual live again. But we'll see. But I wanted you guys to hear this, so it's kind of takes you from that was their first interview, the first public interview the parents did, to this being the last time we've seen them publicly as of right now. His mom is very vocal. She is on TikTok. She is on Facebook making posts. And then Ben Crump is obviously on any platform he can get to.
Let me say that be mindful of the. Let me say
I'm not
that
going to play this whole thing. I'm going to skip it.
be mindful of the fact that these two parents.
This is from
have
yesterday.
Just funeralized their son, and we would hope you respect that.
Hold on, I can't get it to.
They've just got off the phone with Tyler Perry, thanking him again for paying for the funeral, and now matching me and putting up now a $100,000 reward for anyone that gives information that directly leads to the arrest and prosecution and conviction of someone if a crime was committed. We are committed in Nash Action Network and other organizations to stand for this family. It does not end with the funeral. We intend to be vigilant on this local investigation.
Well, hold on. We don't know that he didn't get on Katie's boat because there is a lot of talking about that last video where you can see him at the end of the boat, of that being Katie's dad's boat. We don't know for sure that he got on Katie's boat, but I wouldn't say that he didn't get on it.
And we intend to push as hard as we can to find out what happened. What was this cause of this tragedy? Clearly, the inconsistencies and unanswered questions leaves a serious cloud. We are not making direct accusations, and we don't appreciate those that are making them against Nolan. We want the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes the truth is also something that is required. So we'll take your questions, Attorney Ben Crump and I, and if you have something that is that you want to ask the family. Again, if you go beyond the boundaries of what is appropriate, I will stop the question, not the family, because they're not here to be ridiculed. They are here because they're mourning and they had enough heart to say they would come with us to the press conference. I want to say something.
Just very briefly, I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton, and that they believe that they need to tell the family their truths directly. For whatever reasons, they said, we may call the law enforcement agencies, but we want to tell you all the truth of what we saw or what we videotaped or photographs we took. And we believe that everybody should want the same thing, the truth. And it is imperative, as soon as possible, do not let time continue to, it's been 2 weeks now almost. Let's intensify, and that's why I'm grateful for the reward. Let's intensify this search for the truth, because they have a tendency to sweep things under the rug as time goes by. We don't want too much time to go by when memories get foggy, when people start to feel pressure. They heard a law enforcement person say no foul play, so they don't feel like if they say anything, it's going to be attacked. No. Tell us. We want to evaluate every aspect to be able to give Christine and Elmore answers as to why Nolan Wells is dead and not with us. And so with that, we will take your questions if you have any.
Please identify your outlet and say your name.
Tristan Smith from Dayline NBC. First, thank you for allowing us here today. I'm praying for your family, and I hope you get answers to your questions soon. I just wanted to know, with the community turnout, the football players there, the state reps, everybody came out today. What does that mean to you and your family?
That means a lot. Again, that is a testament to who Nolan is and was as a person, how many people he touched. It's also a testament to those who have questioned our parenting, you know, what type of parents we are to all of our children. And we just cannot thank our community enough for rallying around us during this time. Also, again, to Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, Byron Allen, like just so much love from places we could have never imagined. And we're grateful. Thank you.
Danielle Willis, WJTV out of Jackson. And again, my condolences as well to you all. We are praying for you in your time. And what would transparency look like to you all? I know we spoke about transparency during the eulogy. What are you hoping and wanting from investigators?
The truth. I think that we need to hear exactly with evidence of what they say happened. I think that part of what embellished the concerns we had was for someone in law enforcement here to say, we see no foul play. So they're really going to have to show us one way or another where they go from here. The fact is that you cannot convince many of us, given the unanswered questions, cell phones, stuff taken off the cell phone, keys, all of which was at first denied. And no one they did not come to the family. The family started missing him and searching for him. All of that does not add up. So what we would want to see is something that adds up to saying truth, not adds up to just some loosely connected stories.
The only thing I would add to Reverend Al's answer to your question, what is transparency to us? It is truly having a fair and impartial investigation as if Nolan, the facts were reversed. I mean, it's inescapable. You know, people often talk about, you know, well, you all keep interjecting race. Well, y'all know in every situation that is a identifier when you're talking about matters. You know, we hear black on black crime. It's inescapable. And so we want to really be able to say to this family, but to America, it was a fair investigation. Everything they did had the roles being reversed racially, where they had 3 young black men and a white man died after being on the boat. You have his cell phone. Those are the things that we're searching for. Did you search their phones? You know, we talking about Nolan's phone. Those are the questions that transparency, the autopsy, you know, we waiting for it. It shouldn't take that long. We want those answers. And so transparency is giving complete equity to this family, a fair and thorough, impartial investigation where we know that due process was respected every step of the way. And many have questions. And so we are trying to be respectful and collaborative as much as we can. We will hope that they will give the same to us.
Attorney Crump, we talked before about situations like this, and I'm just wondering, does it bother you a little bit that we don't have that news conference where officials are given a timeline, where they map things out for what they know, where they share as much information as they have with the public? Because obviously people are paying attention.
Yeah, you know, Ryan, it's always troublesome to all of us when these investigations just take forever. I mean, 6 months to get a toxicology report back, to get an autopsy done, as if, you know, the longer we let it go, the more people forget, other things happen, it gets swept under the rug. And so that's what's important, to have a timeline. And when you don't have that timeline, you start to say, oh, what Nolan Wells, what happened? I mean, I remember that case, but we got no answers. And so that's the trouble without having a timeline. And so that's why the people who are calling us, I mean, we have people presenting videos, and it's so helpful as we try to put this puzzle together. People are talking about their boats, and when they were out there, and when they were in earshot of Nolan and people on the boat. We need all of that information because we want to make sure what goes to the grand jury is accurate.
Right.
We know when it goes to the grand jury, we never will know what happened in that grand jury. That's why we're collecting affidavits. Did this get presented to the grand jury? It's never lost on me. It's never lost on me. You can get an indictment on a ham sandwich in the grand jury if you want to. The question is, are you trying to get to the truth? Are you trying to help keep the truth hidden from us? And that's what we're fighting for. The last thing I would say is this, and it's important. You know, there are people who are presenting videos, photographs that may show Nolan was on the boat with the person, Katie. We got to fully bet that I respect so much what my mentor, Reverend Al, said up there. We're going to go wherever the truth leads us. We want the truth, no matter who it implicates or exonerates.
I think he's going to correct the fact that he's been saying that Nolan was in a fight.
Acquits or convicts. So we know they're telling two different stories. You know, the boys telling one story, Katie telling one story. What is the truth?
One more question, just obviously mom and dad.
On the third option, what boat was Evan and Jax on? And was Nolan on that boat?
Now I'm just like, who the hell was on what boat? And now there's like even more boats, like even with just their like little inner circle of people.
Yeah.
Like that's even crazier.
It's insane.
Yeah. So
there's a very specific record of all of these people. I know it. We'll just never know until or if there's a real investigation that starts, you know. If it needs to go there, if for some reason they find foul play, you know.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think, yeah, so tomorrow should be interesting. I guess we'll find out. We'll also see if the sheriff's office decides to put out anything simultaneously or to rush and do it beforehand. So
I'll tell you what, y'all, if that shit does not say accidental drowning, I'm gonna be up in this bitch. Told you. Just kidding.
Well, but then here's the question: is like, so if the first one says accidental drowning and the second one says not accidental drowning,
no,
or vice versa.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. So it's like,
let's just get there. Let's get to tomorrow and see what we're dealt with. But also, if it does say accidental drowning, don't expect me to come here and take my lashings because
I would never give you.
Honestly,
my opinion at this moment in time, and obviously there's still so much more information that we don't know. My opinion is that it probably is going to be an accidental drowning. I do believe that. So at this point that they're taking all the information as they uncover it to a grand jury at some point. And so I guess we'll see what they end up deciding. But I am the most curious to see how many adults get charged with providing alcohol that leads to a death.
No, please. No.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like out here, that would be a bigger charge than,
If they find a bunch of alcohol in the system, yeah, that'll be a problem.
Yep.
That'll be a problem for sure.
So,
all right. TBD.
TBD. All right. Thank you guys, Shibuki. Thank you so much. I know I kept you on forever. Love you.
No,
I'm so
amazing.
thankful that you came on with me. Thank you guys in
Thank
chat.
you.
Thank you for all of you guys that are always here. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to all the new people that showed up, and then all of you with all the info. My goal is to be back tomorrow to cover the press conference, and we will hopefully we'll see you guys then. So go enjoy the rest of your evening or the next day. Whose boat are we getting on? I don't know. I'm getting on my bed. I'm on my bed boat. So go enjoy the rest of your night, and I will talk to you guys mañana.
Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown. Down the rabbit hole. Where it stops, no one knows. We're going Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.